You left Linmo's home and turned your horse toward Donchia sect. This time, you weren't rushing. You rode at a lazy pace the whole way, enduring a very familiar problem, a sore backside. And, just to be clear, you and the horse had a perfectly respectful relationship. The soreness was from that time Sia Hueda chased you like a lunatic, not from anything violent. Even so, you didn't waste the journey. Somehow, you'd reached the point where you could cultivate while riding. Breath steady, posture adjusted, true chi circulating in rhythm with the horse's steps. So you cultivated the entire road. Travel and training together. 2 months passed. Year 14. You returned to Yutong County, right at the foot of Donchia sect. Leading your horse through the noisy streets, you suddenly felt it. That itch. That pull. A breakthrough. You didn't hesitate. You rented a room at the nearest inn, locked the door, and climbed onto the bed. Cross-legged. Back straight. Mind calm. You threw yourself into cultivation. The chance to step into early organ fortifying was right there, thin as a paper wall. You studied your thoughts and guided your true chi through the routes of the Star River Blade art. Cycle after cycle, smoother each time. Faster each time. Half a day later, the circulation suddenly accelerated like a river breaking loose. You clenched your teeth, groaned, and pushed through that last stubborn barrier. Your true chi roared inside you, vibrating through bones and flesh like thunder trapped in a cage. And just like that, you stepped into early organ fortifying. Organ fortifying meant exactly what it sounded like, tempering the 5 internal organs, reinforcing the body at its most crucial and fragile points. At the early stage, the focus was on the kidneys, consolidating essence and stabilizing the root. Your combat strength jumped so hard you could now crush ordinary early dragon transformation cultivators without effort. A major realm breakthrough. Of course you had to celebrate. You dashed downstairs into the inn's lobby, climbed onto a bench like a lunatic, and shouted, "Everyone! Tonight's drinks are on young Master He. Cheers!" The room exploded. Woohoo! Hell yeah! Cheers, laughter, cups banging on tables. You threw your head back and laughed with them, basking in the chaos you'd created. After the drinking and shouting finally died down, a waiter approached with a polite smile, holding a tray and the bill. "Young Master he said sweetly, tonight's total is 48 taels. Please settle the account." You blinked. "I'm not young Master He." The waiter's smile twitched. "Then, you are." "My name is Zhao Taizhu." The waiter froze like someone had slapped him. "Then why did you scream that young Master He was paying?" You shrugged. "I said it randomly. Tomorrow I might shout young Master Zhang or Li. Would you believe that too? Shouldn't you confirm first?" The waiter's face went pale. "Wait, are you trying to cheat us?" "Who's cheating?" you said calmly. "I never said I'd pay." And with that, you vanished. A burst of movement technique, a blur, and you were gone from the inn like smoke. The waiter collapsed onto the floor, staring at the empty doorway. "We're ruined." Then, in the next breath, he felt his tray suddenly grow heavy. He looked down. 2 silver ingots sat neatly on it. One was exactly 48 taels. The other was a smaller piece, maybe 2 taels. The waiter's eyes lit up like lanterns. He snatched the small one instantly and stuffed it into his pocket. Haha, not ruined after all. By the time night fully settled, you had already slipped back into Donchia sect. You went straight to your courtyard and slept like a rock. The next day, you went to report your return to Sia Hueda. When you entered his courtyard, he was refining pills. And he'd clearly acquired a new cauldron. The moment he saw you, he stopped mid-process, abandoned the batch, and quickly put the new cauldron away like he was hiding stolen goods. "Master, what was that?" you asked, genuinely shocked. "Nothing," Sia Hueda said calmly. "This batch failed." You stared. Failed? But it was almost finished. You were about to complete it. Sia Hueda didn't even blink. Better to waste one batch than lose one cauldron. You clutched your chest dramatically. "I never thought Master would guard against me like this. This disciple's heart is shattered. Only a better cauldron can heal it." Sia Hueda finally snapped. "Get the hell out. I only have 2 good cauldrons." You tried to keep acting, but he cut you off. "Enough. Stop pestering me." Jiao Mingxi returned. "Go see him." You paused. Jiao Mingxiu? That kid dares come back. You still remembered it clearly. Jiao Mingxiu had gotten He Yushan pregnant before marriage, then eloped with her. You had even given them 100,000 taels when they ran. You were basically their patron saint. So why return? Aren't they afraid her family will kill them? You wondered. You glanced at Xia Huida. Xia Huida instantly grabbed the cauldron he'd just set down, hugging it like a shield. Fine, master, you said quickly. I'll come back tomorrow. Don't you dare, he shouted. Don't you fucking come back. You headed to Jiao Mingxiu's old courtyard. Sure enough, they were there. In the yard stood a chair swing. Jiao Mingxiu and He Yushan sat together, smiling like they didn't have a care in the world. Between them sat a little girl, giggling as the swing rocked. A whole family scene. Mingxiu. Jiao Mingxiu jerked his head up. The moment he recognized you, his face lit up like the sun. To him, you weren't just senior brother. You'd been teacher, helper, benefactor, and the reason they'd survived after eloping. He rushed over. Senior brother. Mingxiu. Senior brother. Mingxiu. Senior brother. You glared. Enough. Say something else. He grinned, honest to the bone. Senior brother, I missed you so much. You smiled faintly. You missed me. Yes. You snorted coldly. Looks more like you're in a hurry to die. Jiao Mingxiu blinked. Senior brother, what do you mean? Your face darkened. How dare you come back? If He Yushan's family finds you, they'll skin you alive. Instead of panicking, Jiao Mingxiu's stiff expression loosened. He even laughed. You stared at him like he'd lost his mind. Then He Yushan walked over, holding the little girl's hand. She guided the child in front of you and spoke softly. Senior brother, this is our daughter. Jiao Xiaoao. You crouched, patted the girl's head, and said warmly, so cute. Uncle will buy you 2 workbooks later. Wah. Jiao Xiaoao burst into tears and ran off like you'd threatened her. You straightened up, confused and annoyed. Explain. Why aren't you afraid anymore? Not scared of your official uncle. Jiao Mingxiu opened his mouth. But He Yushan cut in first, eyes shining. Senior brother, don't worry. My uncle got arrested for corruption. Ha ha. You stared at He Yushan's excited face and almost wondered if you'd heard her wrong. Her uncle had been thrown in jail, and she looked like she'd just won the lottery. For a moment you even suspected the truth. Maybe this couple had been the ones who reported him. Seeing how happy they were, you didn't feel like killing the mood, so you nodded along and said, good, good. Getting locked up is great. The sooner he goes in, the sooner he'll be reincarnated. He Yushan immediately corrected you, serious as could be. Senior brother, he wasn't sentenced to death. It's only exile. You gave her a blank look. Yes. Only exile. Your suspicion deepened. That night, you called Bai Chen over. The 3 of you drank in your courtyard until the air smelled of wine and roasted meat. The mood was light, the kind of warmth you only get when people are alive and safe and stupid together. Jiao Mingxiu talked about the past few years, his words drifting into little smiles when he glanced toward his wife and the child. Bai Chen, on the other hand, described the unique talents of courtesans from nearby towns with a grin so shameless it could be used as a weapon. Everyone looked like they had a future. The next day, you went to Xia Huida. He told you he and Deng Rusong would begin refining the reviving young pill in 8 months. Before that, he needed to travel to obtain a key ingredient. If you had any pill refining questions while he was away, you were to consult Deng Rusong. You waved him off with a bright smile. Master, travel safely. Come back quickly. Try not to die out there. Xia Huida's face darkened immediately. You rebellious brat. Always hoping I'll die so you can inherit my pill cauldron, huh? This is my sincere blessing, you replied solemnly. He snorted and turned to leave, then suddenly stopped. He spun back, eyes narrowed. You've reached organ fortifying? You hadn't bothered to keep the art of hidden breath active, and Xia Huida immediately sensed your aura, early stage organ fortifying. You chuckled. Just got lucky. Luck doesn't do this, he muttered, sighing like he'd swallowed a mouthful of ash. Your martial talent, it's far beyond mine. He actually looked a little depressed. You patted him with a comforting smile. Master, even if my talent is better, you're way older than me. Xia Huida's fist twitched. He looked like he wanted to hit you, but he held it in. Then he left Danxia sect with a dark expression. After he departed, you threw yourself into cultivation and pill refining like you were trying to grind the mountain down with your teeth. 2 months later, you completed your first true qi condensation within the organ fortifying realm. The 9 condensation's profound skill was one of your foundations, so you treated cultivation as the priority. Then you spent another 2 months sharpening pill refinement. Your 5th grade pill refining stabilized. 3 pills per batch is the norm, with the occasional 4 when the heavens felt generous. You were finally standing at the threshold of true proficiency. Whatever time remained, you poured into one stubborn obsession, entering the divine microvision state again, so you could examine that so-called earth source. You'd done it once before, but repeating it was like trying to catch lightning in your bare hands. For more than a month, you barely felt anything at all. You pushed another 10+ days, refusing to give up, and at last you slipped back into that strange heightened perception. You projected your consciousness into the simulation space. The earth source still appeared as an ethereal sword. The moment you tried to approach, the sword energy around it ripped into your awareness again, sharp enough to make your brain feel like it was being stirred into paste. You went dizzy, nauseous, and had no choice but to exit the state. How the hell am I supposed to comprehend this? You cursed under your breath. I'll turn into an idiot before I make progress. It felt like sitting on a mountain of gold while holding nothing but a spoon. 2 days later, Xia Huida returned. With only 2 months left before pill refinement, Deng Rusong began handing sect affairs over to Grand Elder Yuyun. Xia Huida also stopped wasting energy on anything unnecessary. Both men tightened their routines, conserving spirit and focus. Xia Huida explained Deng Wanshu's care to you in detail, and you took over looking after her. With 1 month remaining, both of them fully withdrew, shutting themselves away to prepare mentally. The tension in the air was obvious. But you? You kept cultivating like nothing changed. One day, still unwilling to let the earth source go, you attempted divine microvision again. This time you entered smoothly, almost too smoothly. But once again, you learned nothing. Not a shred. You started to doubt yourself. Was it really an earth source, or had you misidentified it? You remembered a ridiculous story from your hometown. A guy once mistook someone's abandoned girlfriend for a rare medicinal mushroom and soaked her in water for days like a lunatic. Could I be doing the same thing? Mistaking trash for treasure? While you were maintaining the state and thinking this, you suddenly felt it. A gaze. Not imagination. Not paranoia. A real, undeniable sense of being watched. You snapped out of divine microvision instantly, eyes sweeping the courtyard. Who's there? I know you're watching me. Show yourself. Someone daring to spy inside Danxia sect was already insane. And choosing this timing, when Deng Rusing was in seclusion, meant they thought the sect's strongest pillar was unavailable. Sure, the sect still had dragon transformation elders, but whoever this was clearly didn't care. Grandmaster? You thought and felt your scalp tighten. You backed up 2 steps on instinct, trying to look calm while mentally preparing to run. Then a voice laughed from the entrance. Ha ha, nephew, your perception is impressive. You noticed me the moment I arrived. Grand Elder Yuyun stood at your gate, smiling as if nothing was wrong. Late-stage dragon transformation. 7th grade pill refiner. Strong enough that you didn't dare relax. In your head, suspicion exploded in 1,000 directions. So it's you, you old bastard. Nearly scared me to death. On the outside, you smiled smoothly. Grand Elder. Please come in. Yuyun chuckled and walked into the courtyard. I just finished handling sect affairs. Thought I'd stop by and chat. That only made it weirder. In the past, Yuyun barely interacted with you. He had never once come to your courtyard like this. Why now? Why suddenly, right after taking temporary control of sect affairs? You played along, smiling, waiting for the hook. But the hook never came. He talked about the sect, who disliked whom, who formed cliques, which elders had strange habits, what minor issues he'd dealt with recently. It was scattered, rambling, almost genuinely casual. Then he stood, nodded, and left as if he'd simply come by to kill time. When he was gone, you stared at the empty gate, completely baffled. What the hell was that old man's angle?
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
You initially thought Yun might have conflicts with Xia Huida, so you assumed he was taking advantage of Xia Huida's seclusion to intimidate you, Xia Huida's direct disciple. Though temporarily no match for him, you knew he couldn't kill you either. You even contemplated giving him a taste of cross-level combat. Yet Yun came sneaking around only to leave inexplicably, thoroughly confusing you. Frowning, you resolved to remain vigilant against Yun in the future. 1 month later, Deng Rusong and Xia Huida officially began closed-door refinement of the reviving Yang pill. Their estimated refinement period was 1 month. Deng Rusong instructed Yun that nothing, not even exploding crystals, should disturb them. After Deng Rusong and Xia Huida entered seclusion, you continued your cultivation. Within days, you advanced the treading heaven steps to initial achievement proficiency. Now you could remain airborne for 10 breaths. But the movement speed midair remained problematic. If only treading heaven steps could match an ultimate grandmaster's speed, you indulged in unrealistic fantasies. That would grant you true flight, albeit briefly. Still, it would fulfill your childhood dream of becoming an astronaut. Frowning in thought, suddenly inspiration struck. I've got it. What if I have Lin Mo practice treading heaven steps? Might yield different results. After all, Lin Mo was the genius who created the heaven-defying 9 condensation's profound skill. Excited by the idea, you exclaimed, right. I should utilize this human skill enhancer. Acting immediately, you summoned Jiao Mingxiu and He Yushan to care for Dang Wanshu for a month. Dang Wanshu's condition wasn't secret. Most Danxia sect members knew. Jiao Mingxiu and He Yushan readily agreed, solemnly vowing proper care. That same day, you rode a fast horse to Lin Mo's home. Calculations showed round trip would take just over a month, coinciding with Xia Huida's estimated completion of the reviving Yang pill refinement. Barring accidents, you'd return to find your martial aunt revived. After half a month's travel, you arrived. Lin Mo had grown considerably taller this past year. Overjoyed at your return, he eagerly pulled you, Uncle Yu. You came back. Uncle Yu, I missed you so much. Haven't slacked in cultivation, have you? Lin Mo proudly declared, Uncle Yu, no slacking. I've cultivated diligently. A quick sensing left you stunned. Lin Mo had reached late-stage skin refining in 1 year. You needed 15 damned years for the same. Excellent. Late-stage skin refining in 1 year? Time for advanced training. You handed Lin Mo treading heaven steps. Here, child, a movement martial skill. Lin Mo accepted it solemnly. Thank you, Uncle Yu. I'll master it. Not just master, I want you to modify it for maximum aerial speed. Modify skills? Uncle Yu, can I? Lin Mo hesitated. You glared. At your age, I was creating skills. Modification is nothing. Lin Mo's expression firmed. Uncle Yu, I'll strive to match your footsteps. Smiling, you nodded. Good lad. Catching me won't be easy, work hard. After successfully motivating Lin Mo, you returned contentedly to Danxia sect. The return trip took another half-month. Total round trip, 1 month and 4 days, remarkably fast. Yet no revived martial aunt greeted you. Nor were Deng Rusong or Xia Huida present. Turns out they remained refining the reviving Yang pill. Resuming cultivation. Your pill refinement advanced after another month, now consistently producing 4 5th-grade pills, solidifying initial achievement proficiency. But Deng Rusong and Xia Huida still hadn't emerged. Growing suspicious, you began periodically patrolling outside their sealed stone chamber. Unable to interfere, only observe. One day during courtyard training, Yun approached again, purportedly for casual chat. This time he voluntarily mentioned Xia Huida. How Xia Huida possessed the greatest pill talent of their generation. Universally expected to become Danxia sect's next leader. Until Deng Wanqi's incident derailed everything. Thereafter Xia Huida became obsessed, frantically researching revival pills and medicines. Like a stubborn bull charging down dead ends, neglecting proper pill refinement. His martial cultivation lagging further behind. Then Yu Yun abruptly shifted focus to you, praising you as Xia Huida's outstanding disciple, surpassing even Xia Huida's martial achievements. Baffled by this sudden flattery, Yu bluntly asked, "Elder Yu, enough riddles, what do you want?" Yu Yun laughed awkwardly, straight to the point. "Very well." Glancing around, he whispered, "Has the sect leader named you successor?" Suddenly you understood. This was about Danxia sect's petty power struggles. Disappointingly mundane. Now realizing Yu Yun's previous, casual visit was actually probing your political stance, especially after noticing your closeness to Deng Rusong. Likely just fishing for confirmation. Wanting no part in such distractions, you resolved to decline any leadership position after Deng Rusong emerged, requesting instead some cushy sinecure. To Yu Yun you feigned ignorance. "Elder, this is news to me." Undeterred, Yu Yun smiled. "No need for caution. My faction seeks no leadership, only to support the next sect leader's prosperity." Your triple denial finally sent him away uncertain. Watching his retreating figure, your eyes gleamed thoughtfully. Seriously considering leaving Danxia sect. Your involvement had grown too deep, constantly distracted by trivial matters, drastically deviating from your original goal of peaceful cultivation. You longed for former freedom, like a wild donkey galloping across plains. Eyes flickering with resolve, you pondered deeply. While you were deep in thought, a sect member suddenly rushed over. He informed you that Xia Huida and Deng Rusong had emerged from seclusion. Both of them were at Xia Huida's courtyard, summoning you to come. You immediately went to Xia Huida's residence. Upon arrival, only Xia Huida and Deng Rusong were present. Both men looked extremely grim. Xia Huida in particular appeared devastated, slumped in his reclining chair with lifeless eyes and an ashen face. He glanced at you indifferently when you approached. After a long silence, he finally spoke slowly. "I failed." You had actually anticipated this outcome. Their pill refinement had taken over a month longer than expected, an almost unheard of occurrence in alchemy. After 2 breaths of silence, you asked, "What went wrong?" Xia Huida just kept shaking his head, tilted to one side without speaking. Deng Rusing sighed quietly before explaining. Everything had gone smoothly during Deng Rusing's stages. But when Xia Huida needed to fuse the earth source, disaster struck. First, Xia Huida couldn't enter the divine microvision state no matter how hard he tried. He barely managed it at the last possible moment. Before they could relax, Xia Huida's state immediately became unstable again. Having mastered divine microvision long ago, he'd never experienced such fluctuations before. His mentality was completely off this time. Deng Rusing's repeated encouragements proved useless. Ultimately, Xia Huida violently exited the divine microvision state at the critical moment, causing the half-fused earth source to instantly dissipate. Xia Huida went mad with despair, muttering "impossible" like a delirious man. He clawed frantically at the air as if trying to recapture the lost earth source. But dissipated earth source could never be recovered. Refusing to accept this, Xia Huida forced Deng Rusong to stay for another attempt. Both knew it was hopeless without the earth source. They sat silently in the stone chamber for a month. Xia Huida drowning in self-loathing. You frowned after hearing this. "Master, can't we just collect more earth source?" Xia Huida didn't lift his head. "No, impossible now." "Why impossible?" Deng Rusong answered mournfully. "The shock was too great. Your master can no longer enter divine microvision." Only then did you understand this hidden consequence. The divine microvision state truly seemed mystical. You grew curious about its fundamental nature. Moreover, you noticed Xia Huida's strange condition during this refinement. While nervousness before refining the reviving yang pill was understandable, such uncharacteristic incompetence from a 7th-grade pill refiner who'd mastered divine microvision made no sense. like a master chef suddenly forgetting how to stir-fry, ruining a prepared dish at the last moment. Something was clearly wrong. Not fearing to reopen wounds, you asked directly. Master, your failure wasn't just about poor condition, furnace heat, or fire control, was it? After long deliberation, Xia Huida finally spoke. Still hunched over with disheveled hair. Hu Zhongshuan, no need to hide. Come out. Both you and Deng Rusing startled violently. Neither had detected Hu Zhongshuan's presence. Especially shocking for Deng Rusong as a grandmaster. Could it be? Your suspicion was confirmed when, after 2 breaths, Hu Zhongshuan descended gracefully from above. Ultimate Grandmaster. Junior brother Hu, you succeeded. Deng Rusong exclaimed. Hu Zhongshuan remained impassive. Long time no see, senior brothers. Then he turned to you, and you, Junior. You nodded slightly in greeting. Hu Zhongshuan had truly comprehended Earth Source to become an ultimate grandmaster. His martial talent was indeed remarkable. You made a mental note to ask him later about Earth Source comprehension. Suddenly you realized. When Yun first visited you during your divine microvision state, you'd sensed someone spying. Yun claimed he'd just arrived, making you doubt his excuse. Now you understood, you'd actually detected Hu Zhongshuan's surveillance. Hu Zhongshuan asked Xia Huida, how did you know I was here? You shouldn't have visited Wanshu. Xia Huida shook his head. You noticed me? After a heavy sigh, Xia Huida explained. He visited Deng Wanshu daily. So 2 months ago he'd accidentally discovered Hu Zhongshuan's secret visit. Most crucially, Xia Huida realized Hu Zhongshuan had become an ultimate grandmaster, shattering his mentality completely. Now he knew, whether Wanshu woke or not, Hu Zhongshuan would ultimately be the one by her side. This broken Dao heart caused the refinement failure. Xia Huida stood up, disheveled and swaying. I arranged everything for Wanshu myself. I notice every tiny change. He glared furiously at Hu Zhongshuan. Hu Zhongshuan, you shouldn't have gone. You shouldn't have. What right did you have? Trembling with rage, he pointed accusingly. What have you ever done for her? What good is your martial pursuit? Your ultimate grandmaster status. Can you wake her? You can't. We're both useless. Useless. Hu Zhongshuan remained stone-faced as Xia Huida's rant escalated. Enough, Huida. Deng Rusong growled. Xia Huida laughed bitterly before shuffling out of the courtyard. Ha ha. Useless. All useless. His voice faded into the distance. The 3 of you stood in heavy silence. Zhongshuan, come with me, Deng Rusing finally said, leading Hu Zhongshuan away. You sighed and returned to your own courtyard. The next morning, before you'd even finished washing up, Xia Huida summoned you again. Puzzled by his sudden initiative after yesterday's despair, you went to his courtyard. Gone was yesterday's dishevelment. Today Xia Huida was immaculately groomed. Hair perfectly tied back. Snow-white robes without a single wrinkle. His handsome early 30s features giving an ethereal aura. The broken man from yesterday had vanished, sitting primly on a stone stool. He smiled and beckoned. You come here. Seeing this drastic transformation, a terrible premonition gripped you. Master, what is it? You approached. Xia Huida produced an alchemy furnace. You've always wanted this. It's yours now. Your heart sank. This really feels like last arrangements. You hastily declined. I'd just use it as an ashtray. Keep it yourself. He pushed the exquisite furnace into your hands. Whatever you do with it, accept it. When you tried refusing again, he waved dismissively with a faint smile. Now come see your martial aunt with me. You and Xia Huida entered Deng Wanshu's secret chamber. Hu Zhongshuan and Deng Rusong were both present. Xia Huida didn't even glance at them. He only turned to you and said, you won't need to take care of your martial aunt anymore. But I'm grateful you agreed to my request back then. Without waiting for your response, Xia Huida walked straight toward the cold jade bed. Toward the love of his life. Xia Huida sat on the cold jade bed, then turned slightly to lie down beside Deng Wanshu. He gently caressed Deng Wanshu's cheek, murmuring endless words in a low voice. Xia Huida didn't know if Deng Wanshu could truly hear him. He poured out his heart completely, oblivious to anyone else's presence. Suddenly, a single clear tear rolled down from Dang Wanshu's eye. Xia Huida froze, his expression deeply moved. He tenderly wiped away Dang Wanshu's tear with his finger. "Wanshu, can you hear me? That's wonderful." Xia Huida's voice was incredibly gentle as he continued, but Wanshu. His words trailed off into silence. After a long pause, Xia Huida abruptly sat up without warning, staring desperately at Deng Wanshu. His face suddenly twisted into a terrifying grimace, as if confronting the most horrifying existence in the world. His voice turned shrill and piercing. He screamed hoarsely, "But Wanshu, I don't want to die." Thud. After his final scream, Xia Huida collapsed limply onto the cold jade bed. His gaze remained fixed on Deng Wanshu's serene face. A single clear tear streamed from Xia Huida's eye, flowing onto the cold jade bed where it mingled with Deng Wanshu's tear. The mingled tears formed a small wet patch, reflecting both their peaceful sleeping faces. You looked at Xia Huida's motionless form on the bed. Uncertain, you turned to Hu Zhongshuan and Deng Rusong. "Martial uncle, sect leader, my master." Their somber nods confirmed it. Xia Huida was indeed dead. He had died beside the person he loved most. You unconsciously rubbed the pill furnace in your hands. You decided to keep this furnace carefully preserved. Deng Rusong held a grand funeral for Xia Huida. He was buried on Danxia Sect's back mountain. You would occasionally visit to burn paper offerings for him. Remembering Xia Huida's deeds would inevitably make your eyes sting, shedding a few tears. You informed Deng Rusong of your decision not to become Danxia Sect's next leader. Deng Rusong tried persuading you several times, but you politely declined. Eventually, he had to concede. However, he urged you to remain with Danxia Sect. You requested a position guarding the transmission pavilion, wishing only to live quietly like a floor-sweeping monk. Deng Rusong agreed. From then on, you ignored all Danxia Sect affairs, maintaining only 2 points in your daily routine, the transmission pavilion and your courtyard. Between cultivation and alchemy research, you found happiness. Hu Zhongshuan had stayed at Danxia Sect for half a month now. He visited Deng Wanshu daily. Even as an ultimate grandmaster, he couldn't find joy, because he still couldn't awaken Deng Wanshu. What devastated him more was realizing there were no paths beyond ultimate grandmaster. He had reached martial arts' absolute peak. His sole comfort was gaining nearly 2 centuries of lifespan to accompany Deng Wanshu's remaining years. One day, you approached Hu Zhongshuan to inquire about Earth sources. As someone who had succeeded, he shared his insights unreservedly. As you suspected, each Earth source's essence differed. It could manifest as a sword, a blade, a folding fan, or even a brush. Some appeared as floating words in the air. To perceive an Earth source required having attributes resonating with it. Hu Zhongshuan's Earth source had taken form as a fierce white-browed tiger. For this, he had ventured into Black Serpent Woods to observe tigers, eventually living and even sleeping alongside them. Your eyes widened in shock. "Martial uncle, was the sleeping necessary? Couldn't you skip that?" A vein pulsed on Hu Zhongshuan's forehead. "I coexisted with tigers, not married them." You sighed in relief. "Oh good, that's a relief." Only after fully understanding tiger behavior and absorbing their aura could Hu Zhongshuan perceive his Earth source. Perception duration varied, some took years, others mere moments. Hu Zhongshuan's perception lasted only 3 years before completion and fusion. Fusion 2. You recalled Hu Zhongshuan previously mentioning perception alone. He explained, after perception, fusion occurs naturally. The Earth source recognizes you and willingly merges with your body. Does fusion make one an ultimate grandmaster? Yes. Once fused, you share a symbiotic existence, perish together if either dies. Post-fusion, a grandmaster's body undergoes metamorphosis, gaining flight capability and 2-century lifespan. Most crucially, their true chi transforms into source power, a power tier completely beyond conventional true chi. This explained the vast chasm between grandmasters and ultimate grandmasters. Yet Lin Mo, Miao Gift, had fought ultimate grandmasters evenly at peak grandmaster level. Like battling a Gwanda wielder with a wooden stick and holding ground, showcasing terrifying talent. Now that's what I call horrifying talent, you mused privately. Considering ultimate grandmaster abilities, transcendent power, flight, extended lifespan. You frowned deeply. Isn't this basically fucking immortal cultivation? But Hu Zhangxuan revealed no paths existed beyond ultimate grandmaster. Ultimate grandmasters couldn't enhance combat power or cultivation further. Moreover, each grandmaster could only fuse with one earth source. Attempting a second would cause it to dissipate harmlessly. You pondered further. Martial uncle, what if someone perceived an earth source before reaching grandmaster? They'd die, Hu Zhangxuan stated flatly. You blinked. Die? Why? Only a peak grandmaster's physique can withstand the metamorphosis. Weaker bodies would collapse. You nodded thoughtfully. Initially thinking your divine microvision could bypass perception requirements, you now face the fusion barrier. Must I really wait until peak grandmaster to unlock earth sources? After consideration. Sudden realization flashed in your eyes. Perhaps not. My 9 condensation's profound skill lets me combat foes 2 major realms stronger. Doesn't that mean my physique already matches 2 realms ahead? In other words, at peak essence refining with 9-fold true chi condensation, my body might equal a peak grandmaster's. The theory seemed increasingly plausible. Besides, with your cheat-like advantages, failure merely meant death. Were you afraid of death? Only of meaningless death. For a worthy cause, you feared nothing. You had many more conversations with Hu Zhangxuan. He learned about your promise to take care of Deng Wanshu. Hu Zhangxuan's impression of you changed significantly. He previously thought you were just a careless, cowardly person. Now he thinks you're still careless and cowardly, but also a smooth-talking bullshitter. Hu Zhangxuan wrote down his entire process and insights about comprehending Earth Source and gave them to you. Junior nephew, I hope you can make use of this someday. Hu Zhangxuan sincerely wished you. I definitely will. You had full confidence in yourself, your cheat. Hu Zhangxuan left 2 days later. He returned to Yajianku. Because Hu Zhangxuan advanced to Grandmaster unusually fast, he gained Li Anlong's favor and was promoted to deputy commander. Hu Zhangxuan told Deng Rusong he would take care of Deng Wanshu from now on, to which Deng Rusing replied, I'm not dead yet. When Hu Zhangxuan suggested taking Deng Wanshu with him, Deng Rusong directly told him to get lost. Yajianku was war-torn with harsh conditions. Bringing Deng Wanshu there would be extremely inconvenient. After Hu Zhangxuan left, you obtained a top-tier organ fortifying cultivation method from the transmission pavilion, the lightning shadow sword technique. You also acquired a longsword. You plan to practice swordsmanship to generate sword energy and test its effects. To verify whether this could help you comprehend Earth Source. Year 17. As a crude saber user, your initial sword training progressed very slowly. Fortunately, your martial talent was already quite good. After half a year, you mastered the lightning shadow sword technique to marrow washing peak stage. However, being unaccustomed to swords, you substituted your soul awakening blade during practice. So now you could slash out sword energy with your saber. This absurd NTR experience actually excited you a little. You immediately attempted to enter divine microvision state. But having not mastered it yet, you failed after a month of attempts. Reluctantly, you had to temporarily give up. You spent 2 more months completing your second true chi condensation. After finishing, you inexplicably tried entering divine microvision again. To your surprise, it worked exceptionally smoothly this time. You succeeded on the first attempt. You felt divine microvision was utterly mystical. There could even be cases like Xia Huida's where one could never enter the state again. Could it be because he's old and needs medicinal assistance now? You frowned. Why does that sentence sound weird? Shaking your head to clear distractions, you took advantage of the stable divine microvision to extend your consciousness into space. This time you directly released the sword energy gained from practicing lightning shadow sword technique. Then something miraculous happened. The longsword immediately calmed upon sensing your sword energy. The sharp sword energy around it also became gentle. For the first time, Your consciousness could slowly approach the Earth Source longsword. You were so excited you nearly lost focus and exited the state. You hurriedly stabilized your mind. As your consciousness gradually approached, it finally fully attached to the Earth Source longsword. A few remaining powerful sword energies still caused slight pain, but it was bearable. Following Hu Zhangxuan's notes, your consciousness explored the Earth Source longsword back and forth, carefully comprehending its mysteries. Unfortunately, you gained no substantial insights before exiting the state. But you weren't discouraged. This path was viable. After exiting, you surprisingly found the weakness much reduced compared to before. This indicated real progress in your divine microvision. You were extremely pleased. To celebrate, you invited Jiao Mingxiu's family and Bai Chan for barbecue in your courtyard. Jiao Mingxiu arrived carrying a large bag. You welcomed him. Junior brother, you didn't need to bring, just Jiao Xiaoyao's toys? How shameless of you, get in here. Bai Chen came with a beautiful young woman. You asked, new sister-in-law. Bai Chen grinned, brand new, completely new. You nodded kindly and asked the girl, which brothel do you work at? Senior brother. AU is a proper girl. Bai Chen hastily explained. You acted surprised. Since when did your taste change? Bai Chen glared intensely, gritting his teeth. My taste never changed, senior brother. You immediately understood and gave him an okay gesture. Then you told the girl, don't worry AU. Bai Chen never visits brothels, never spends all his pill money tipping courtesans to be top donor, and definitely wouldn't, yes. Senior brother. Bai Chen interrupted. He grabbed a roasted chicken leg. Senior brother, have some chicken leg. He stuffed it in your mouth and quickly retreated with AU. You took a bite and announced, keep the music playing. Keep dancing. Year 18. While cultivating one day, you suddenly had an epiphany. You immediately circulated the Star River blade art. Within moments, you broke through to mid-stage organ fortifying, simultaneously completing your fourth true qi condensation. Now ordinary mid-stage dragon transformation cultivators couldn't withstand your attacks. You felt incredibly refreshed. Feeling impulsive, you attempted divine microvision again, this time succeeding after 7 or 8 tries. Though gaining no new Earth Source insights, you discovered a method to increase success rate, true qi condensation. You realized attempts after completing condensation worked better. This time was no exception. You guessed the 9 condensations' profound skill granted finer qi control, which manifested as divine microvision. You planned to monitor whether condensation frequency correlated with divine microvision proficiency. You also advanced treading heaven's steps to great mastery, now able to remain airborne for 18 breaths. You intended to check on Lin Mo's progress with the revised version. You never doubted Lin Mo's ability. Your trust in him was second only to the simulator. Plus, just assigning tasks while he did the work made you appreciate being a boss. Your pill refining also improved significantly. Now able to stably produce 6 fifth-grade pills, small mastery. One more level and you'd officially become a 5th-grade pill refiner. At just 33, only Xia Hueda had matched this speed. Besides natural talent, Xia Hueda and Deng Rusing's materials were invaluable, like having 2 master refiners personally guiding you. After 6 more months of cultivation, you advanced both Wild Heaven Saber technique and Heavenly Desire formless technique to mid-stage organ fortifying. To better approach the Earth Source longsword, you progressed Lightning Shadow sword technique from marrow washing peak to early organ fortifying. Your sword energy became purer and sharper, just as you prepared for 5th true qi condensation. Deng Rusong sent someone to the transmission pavilion. The messenger said 2 guests specifically requested you. Guests? You frowned, then said, I'm not feeling well today. No visitors. Senior brother He, the sect leader insists you must come. You're puzzled. What kind of guests could Deng Rusong not handle without you? What do these guests look like, you ask? The disciple gives you a strange look. Senior brother He, they look like mother and daughter. Mother and daughter? You don't recall ever being that wild. But then it hits you, Wan Qingwan and Yan Jixue. You frown. Why would they come, and why must they see me? With questions in mind, you arrive at Danxia Sec's reception hall. Sure enough, Wan Qingwan and Yan Jixue are there. Wan Qingwan wears a pure white dress, coolly observing you with curious eyes. You nod slightly at this most familiar stranger. Yan Jixue is in a black dress, exuding gentle grace with her ever-present warm smile. She carries none of the extermination sect leader's demeanor, appearing instead like a well-maintained noblewoman from a scholarly family. You're perplexed. Yan Jixue seems saner than anyone, hardly fitting as leader of those extermination sect lunatics. Deng Rusong introduces, you. This is extermination sect leader Yan Jixue, and that is extermination sect saintess Wan Qingwan. Greetings to both. You keep your tone measured. Yan Jixue immediately studies you, her voice soft yet magnetic. Young hero, he is indeed talented, quite well matched with our Qingwan. You startle, completely thrown. Are they here to propose marriage? You quickly say, sect leader Yan, perhaps you've misunderstood my relationship with heroine Wan? Yan Jixue covers her mouth with elegant amusement. Does young hero he feel unworthy of our Qingwan? Your eyebrow twitches indignantly. Unworthy of her? You could outmatch her 10 times over. As a cheat character, you could match anyone. You just don't want deep involvement with the extermination sect. I can't decide this myself. My guardian isn't home, you deflect. Where's your master? Yan Jixue asks. Underground. Yan Jixue, ? Deng Rusong glares. You. Stop talking nonsense. He politely explains, sect leader Yan, Hiyu's master, my junior brother Xia Hueda, passed away over a year ago. Yan Jixue nods. Since young hero he's master is gone, sect leader Deng can decide. You quickly interject, sect leader Yan, let's postpone this discussion. I'm observing 3 years mourning for my master. Wan Qingwan tilts her head. What's 3 years mourning? You explain. It means maintaining solemnity for 3 years without smiling. What if you slip up? Accidents don't count. Wan Qingwan nods sagely. You know so much. My duty. Deng Rusong can't tolerate your nonsense anymore. You. Accompany heroine Wan around Danxia sect. You mentally curse. Deng's too scared of Yan Jixue, so he sends you to charm her instead. Some sect leader, Pa. While distracted, you feel a soft hand slip into yours. Let's go. Wan Qingwan's voice remains coolly matter-of-fact. Your pupil's contract. Wait, what's this? Her bright eyes show confusion. Wasn't it like this last time? Lady, last time was because you. You stop mid-sentence. Yan Jixue is watching you too with a matchmaker's grin. Even Deng Rusong's sporting a damn fatherly smile. Hopeless, you grab Wan Qingwan's hand. Fine, let me show you Danxia sect scenery. As you stroll through the expansive, tree-lined sect grounds. Heroine Wan, what do you like about me? I'll change it. Wan Qingwan squeezes your hand. I never said I liked you. You brought your sect leader to propose marriage. The sect leader came to see your leader. She just enjoys matchmaking, don't mind it. You, as an ancient person, you just said 2 letters. Wan Qingwan, details aren't important. Did she come to request pill refining? To romance your sect leader. You, excuse me? Wan Qingwan arches her willow leaf brows. You didn't know? She explains Deng Rusong and Yan Jixue were lovers in youth. But as extermination sect saintess, Deng's father forbade their relationship. Deng buried his feelings and never married. Only after his father's passing did he reconnect with Yan Jixue. Now as an ultimate grandmaster, Yan Jixue's mind isn't affected by sect techniques, allowing their rekindled romance. You're amazed. Between your ambiguous relationship with Wan Qingwan and Deng's with Yan Jixue, Danxia sexmen sure have game. No wonder they sent us away. We were third wheels. Wan Qingwan nods, exactly. You smirk. The sect leader really is vigorous despite his age. Later at Xia Hueda's grave, you burn spirit money together. Returning to the hall, you find Deng Rusong setting Yan Jixue down from his lap. Wiping drool, he says, back so soon. You apologize. Sorry for interrupting the making of Danxia's next heir. Deng waves it off. No matter. As Yan Jixue and Wan Qingwan depart, you and Deng watch them vanish into the horizon. You muse, sect leader, you wouldn't want people knowing about you and sect leader Yan, right? Speak. 5 8th grade pill recipes. You returned to your courtyard from Dang Rusong's place. In your hand were 5 8th grade pill recipes. You burned the midnight oil, carefully studying these 5 recipes. The refining techniques and material combinations gave you great inspiration. Your current 5th grade pill proficiency was at minor mastery. You plan to focus on pill refining next, striving to reach major mastery and become a genuine 5th grade pill refiner. You began concentrating on refining 5th grade pills. The 19th year. During the 5th grade pill refining process, your control over true qi became increasingly precise. You incidentally completed your 5th true qi condensation. After finishing the condensation, you attempted divine microvision based on your hypothesis. The success came so easily it was almost unbelievable. Your divine microvision had finally reached beginner level. You became completely certain, the more times you condensed true qi, the easier it became to advance divine microvision's proficiency. This discovery delighted you, while also leading to a realization your divine microvision talent wasn't innate after all. Rather, it resulted from repeated true qi condensation, allowing you to contain high-quality qi 1 or 2 realms early, granting near-perfect qi control at each realm. This was what enabled your post-birth awakening of divine microvision. You murmured to yourself, "So I'm not actually a genius?" Your tone carried surprise, as if learning this for the first time. Feeling disappointed, you gritted your teeth and, in extreme frustration, advanced your 5th grade pill refining from minor to major mastery. At 34, you became the youngest 5th grade pill refiner in Danxia sect's history. If counting the 70-plus years spent refining blood qi pills during your 3rd simulation, you'd simultaneously be the oldest 5th grade pill refiner in sect history. Either way, you'd set records, filling yourself with pride. That day, Dang Rusong came to your courtyard. Over the past year, he'd frequently visited for idle chatter. Today was no different. He intended to chat casually again. But then he suddenly noticed the 8 freshly refined 5th grade pills. Dang Rusong pointed in astonishment at the pill furnace you'd obtained from Xia Hueda. "You refined these? If not me, then maybe the furnace grew them after I made a wish." "Cut the nonsense, boy." Dang Rusong's face darkened. "Sect leader, there's nobody else in this courtyard." Dang Rusong studied you deeply before carefully examining all 8 pills. Confirming they were indeed your work, he sighed, "You're truly not interested in becoming sect leader?" "Honored leader, you've asked 800 times this year already." Dang Rusong reclined on a lounge chair that creaked as he rocked. "You've hidden your abilities well, sneaking off to the transmission pavilion to train in secret." "Leader, I wasn't hiding. You simply never noticed before." Dang Rusong glanced sideways. "True enough. Previously only recognized your martial talent, thought your pill talent was merely decent. Never expected you'd surpass even your late master, Envy." You lounged beside him. "Leader seems troubled lately?" After hesitation, Dang Rusong admitted, "Somewhat." "Did sect leader Yen hit menopause?" Dang Rusong glared. "If Jishua had menopause, she'd have killed you last time." You stiffened. "How so?" "Jishua said you know too many of Wan Qingwan's secrets, that you even stole the extermination sect's heavenly desire formless technique. By all rights, she should have killed you. In truth, that was her intention last visit." This shocked you. You'd sensed no killing intent from Yen Jishua, only perceiving a gentle neighborly aura. So this was an ultimate grandmaster's demeanor. Internally cursing, that old witch seemed so kind yet schemes murder. Truly befitting their wicked sect. You asked Dang Rusong, "You protected me?" He shook his head honestly, eyes guilty. "I can't protect anyone Jishua wants dead." Stunned, you remarked, "Leader, damn your honesty. I almost want to award you a gold star." Gazing skyward, Dang Rusong said, "You should resent me. If Jishua had killed you, Hueda would blame me too." A long silence followed. You harbored no real hatred, understanding the extermination sect's temperament made this beyond Dang Rusong's control. "Why didn't the old witch finish me off then?" Ignoring your disrespectful term, Dang Rusong explained. "Wan Qingwan. Jishua detected her developing feelings for you. Killing you would leave Wan Qingwan's mental state incomplete, catastrophic for their sex techniques. Nodding silently, you recognized Yan Jishua's volatility. Without Wan Qinghuan's restraint, she might eliminate you anytime. Having an ultimate grandmaster constantly eyeing your life left you insecure. You simply wanted peaceful cultivation, not living under death's shadow. Your gaze turned ruthless as a plan formed. Coldly thinking, "Old witch, let's revisit that death scenario." Noticing your prolonged silence, Deng Rusong comforted, "You, if Jishua ever comes for you, I'll die ensuring you're buried beside your master." You smiled bitterly. How comforting. However, you paused. "Hope you won't mind, leader." "Mind what?" Shaking your head. "Nothing." Deng Rusong eyed you curiously but pressed no further, instead discussing recent sect affairs. Factions had emerged competing for next leadership, primarily between Grand Elder Yu Yun's faction and 5th Elder Shinding Yuan's. Both factions' disciples were 4th-grade refiners nearing 5th grade, with roughly equal support. Ultimately, Deng Rusong would decide, favoring Yu Yun's disciple for slightly better talent and broader perspective. You recalled Yu Yun claiming disinterest in leadership, yet now he spearheaded the struggle. What a deceitful old man. Watching these power struggles affirmed your decision to avoid leadership, sparing yourself such headaches. Now you could leisurely observe their battles. Even if they overturned the entire sect, you'd merely need to lift a foot. You knew true power lay in strength, not titles. With your current cultivation, few in Danxia sect could oppose you. Any foolish enough to involve you would learn what basic martial skills truly meant. After Deng Rusong left, you departed the sect. Mounting a swift horse, you sought Lin Mo, presuming treading heaven steps had been modified and ready for inspection. The harvest season arrives, you mused cheerfully. En route, another matter surfaced requiring Lin Mo's early preparation. You quickly rode your horse to Lin Mo's home. The 10-year-old Lin Mo had already reached the peak of bone tempering, not far from marrow washing. Seeing you, Lin Mo happily said, "Uncle you came to see me again." You nodded. "I came to check how you're doing with the little test I left you last time." Lin Mo's joyful expression immediately turned somewhat troubled. "Uncle I haven't successfully modified the treading heaven steps yet." You didn't expect Lin Mo to fail. Testing the waters, you said, "It's all right, show me how far you've gotten." Lin Mo hesitated, but nodded reluctantly. Boom! Without any warning, Lin Mo shot into the sky like a cannonball, leaving a cloud of dust where he had been standing. At incredible speed, he circled around you in the air several times. After a few breaths, Lin Mo gracefully landed. He walked up to you sheepishly. "Uncle I don't think I've reached the maximum speed you mentioned, but I can improve it further." Your eyes widened in shock, completely dumbfounded. Inside, you were screaming, "This is what you call a failed modification. If this is failure, then everyone else might as well give up." It took you a while to calm down. Patting Lin Mo's head, you said, "Good kid, you've done well already. You've reached about my ankle level from back in the day." Lin Mo jumped for joy. "Yay, I love reaching ankle level." You had Lin Mo give you the modified treading heaven steps and instructed him to continue optimizing it. While the new version's speed had improved dramatically, it still fell short of an ultimate grandmaster's speed. The aerial duration hadn't increased either, making it somewhat limited overall, but you were confident Lin Mo would surprise you. You renamed the technique to Wandering Heaven Steps. You then told Lin Mo to start recruiting martial artists to form his own small group, which could eventually grow into a proper sect. You explained that many hands make light work and everything would be more convenient. What you didn't tell Lin Mo was that this was mainly for your own convenience. Future operations against Yan Jishua couldn't be traced directly back to you. You left Lin Mo with large quantities of blood chi pills and internal spirit pills, along with various healing and restorative pills popular among martial artists, to help recruit talent. Deeply moved, Lin Mo literally flew with you for 2 miles to see you off. You told him to keep a low profile and never reveal your relationship, with all future meetings to be conducted discreetly. Though confused, Lin Mo agreed without hesitation. You also had Lin Mo's family relocate to a small town about 10 days' journey from Danxia sect. Returning to Danxia sect, you immediately began practicing the Wandering Heaven Steps. By the 20th year, you had completely mastered the technique. Racing to a remote bamboo forest deep in the sect's back mountains, you wildly zigzagged through the trees and skimmed just above the ground. Hovering in midair, you looked down at the green ocean of bamboo below and roared excitedly to the sky, startling flocks of birds into flight. Your maximum flight duration remained only 18 breaths, but with brief rest periods you could now use the technique for short-distance travel. After exhausting your excitement, you returned to Danxia sect to continue cultivation. Meanwhile, the competition for sect leadership had intensified dramatically. Fifth Elder Shin Dingyuan's faction had even drawn blood from Grand Elder Yuyun's followers, forcing Deng Rusong to intervene. The offending disciple had his martial arts abolished and was expelled, though Deng Rusong didn't actually discourage the competition. As long as it remained within reasonable bounds, he actually encouraged such struggles, having risen to power through similar conflicts himself. A leader who hadn't weathered storms wouldn't be able to steer the sect. Though slightly conflicted about his successor and already 97 years old, Deng Rusang wasn't in any hurry. Past Danxia sect leaders typically lived past 110, some even reaching 120, thanks to regular pill consumption. You couldn't care less who ultimately became leader. They could beat each other's brains out for all you cared. You maintained your disciplined cultivation routine. Before long, you completed your 6th true qi condensation, which finally stabilized your divine microvision at the beginner level, succeeding twice out of every 10 attempts. You confirmed that true qi condensation acted as a catalyst for divine microvision. You also advanced your lightning shadow sword technique to mid-stage organ fortifying, further enhancing your sword attributes. Carrying this sword-enhanced state, you again attempted to perceive Earth Source, making slight progress this time. The sword energy around the Earth Source longsword completely accepted you, circling around like an affectionate puppy. Sensing this cheerful energy, you nodded in satisfaction, knowing the day you could truly utilize Earth Source wasn't far off. By the 23rd year when you turned 38, the sect leadership struggle had reached fever pitch. 5th Elder Shin Dingyuan approached you, as one of the few remaining unaligned members, subtly suggesting you support his faction's candidate by Wenyu. You declared your sole interests were cultivation and pill refining, with no involvement in leadership disputes. Unaware that you'd voluntarily withdrawn from the succession, making their current struggle possible, Shin Dingyuan persisted with empty promises that held no appeal. He also didn't know you were actually a 5th-grade pill refiner, superior to both competing candidates, or he'd have regarded you as serious competition for his disciple. Elder Shin, please leave, you said calmly without even opening your eyes, showing little courtesy as his interruption annoyed you. At mid-stage dragon transformation, Shin Dingyuan would be lucky to withstand 3 moves from you, no matter how well-connected his ancestors were underground. Recognizing your special relationship with Deng Rusang as Xia Huida's disciple, he dared not press further and left, forming an impression of your arrogance, which you ignored as you resumed cultivation, sensing an impending breakthrough. 6 months later, while practicing in your courtyard, with a sudden stretch and stare, you broke through to late-stage organ fortifying, simultaneously completing your 8th true qi condensation. Your combat power now surpassed late-stage dragon transformation practitioners, approaching peak dragon transformation level. In all of Danxia sect, only Deng Rusong could potentially escape your soul awakening blade, and if sufficiently provoked, you might even test yourself against him. Death held no terror for you. The 8th true qi condensation directly advanced your divine microvision to initial proficiency, with significantly reduced side effects. Recovery time shortened from 10 days to 6, while usable duration doubled from 15 to 30 minutes. Very satisfactory results. Though still far from minor achievement, divine microvision greatly improved your pill refining success rates. That day, you officially began refining 6th-grade pills, keeping divine microvision active throughout to train proficiency. The results were outstanding. Your first batch yielded 3 6th-grade pills, skipping the beginner level entirely to reach initial achievement. I'm a fucking genius, you cheered. Genius, what have you accomplished now? Deng Rusong and Hu Zhongshuan walked into your courtyard smiling. You looked up to see Hu Zhongshuan had actually come. Hu Zhongshuan was usually stationed at Yajianku and rarely able to leave. His visit to the Danxia sect must have been for some important matter. You smiled and said, "Uncle, what a rare guest. You've grown so much since we last met years ago." Hu Zhongshuan pointed at you with a wry smile. "You brat, always fooling around. You seem in good spirits, uncle?" you asked with a grin. Hu Zhongshuan laughed heartily. "Indeed, I have good news." He told you that thanks to Li Anlong's favor, he had been transferred from Yajianka back to the capital, now serving as left vice minister of the Ministry of War, becoming the second most powerful figure in the ministry. Compared to fighting on the front lines, sitting high in the imperial court playing political games was clearly more worthwhile. But for Hu Zhongshuan, the official position and power were secondary. Most importantly, he now had the means to take Deng Wanxiu under his care. This put him in excellent spirits. You offered him sincere congratulations. Clearly, Hu Zhongshuan had worked extremely hard at Yajianka to earn such special treatment from Li Anlong. However, Deng Rusong still only permitted Hu Zhongshuan to visit Deng Wanxiu, not allowing him to take her to the capital. Deng Rusong understood Hu Zhongshuan's feelings, but she was his own younger sister after all. He wanted to care for her himself as much as possible. There would be time enough to entrust her to Hu Zhongshuan after his own passing. Hu Zhongshuan wasn't in a hurry either. He now had plenty of time to visit Deng Wanxiu. During your casual conversation, Deng Rusong suddenly noticed 3 6th-grade pills lying in your alchemy furnace. He exclaimed in shock, "You've achieved initial achievement in 6th-grade pills?" You chuckled. "It's not that I'm deliberately showing off. You just happened to arrive right as this batch of 6th-grade pills finished." Deng Rusong stared at you open-mouthed, speechless for a long while. Finally, he said in amazement, "You reached initial achievement in 6th-grade pills in just over 3 years?" After hesitating, you nodded. In truth, you'd spent these 3 years honing 5th-grade alchemy skills, only attempting 6th-grade pills for the first time today. So it wasn't 3 years to initial achievement. With the boost from divine microvision, you'd reached initial achievement proficiency in a single attempt. Not bothering to explain, you simply accepted Deng Rusong's assumption. Deng Rusong's expression kept changing as he looked at you, finally saying, "You brat are truly talented." Hu Zhongshuan said nothing, only silently walking over to the furnace. In a low voice he murmured, 6th-grade pills, 6th-grade pills. Then he looked up at you. "Do you have confidence to reach 7th grade, or even 8th grade?" Hu Zhongshuan's eyes burned with fervent hope. If he weren't male, you might have thought he was confessing his feelings. Hearing this, Deng Rusong also looked at you with expectation. You understood their meaning. They wanted you, with your divine microvision talent, to refine a reviving young pill to awaken Deng Wanxiu. You nodded. "I can refine a reviving young pill for Aunt Wanxiu, but we lack Earth Source." Your relationship with Deng Wanxiu wasn't close enough for you to offer your own Earth Source. Moreover, if you inexplicably produced an Earth Source, you couldn't explain its origin, risking exposure of your cheat abilities. You might have to restart everything. You wouldn't take that risk. After hesitant consideration, Hu Zhongshuan finally resolved himself. "I'll find a way to get the Earth Source." Deng Rusong's eyes sharpened. "You can still obtain Earth Source?" Earth Source wasn't some common vegetable that could be acquired by the cartload. It represented the pinnacle of martial arts, symbolizing every martial artist's ultimate dream. Hu Zhongshuan smiled. "Don't be too surprised, senior brother. I can't guarantee success, but I'll try my best." Deng Rusong sighed lightly. "Don't push yourself too hard." Wanxiu already held Hueda back. "I don't want you to, You laughed lightly. "Sect leader, aren't you underestimating an ultimate grandmaster? At Uncle's level of martial achievement, what could possibly hold him back?" Yes. Deng Rusong suddenly laughed in realization. "Ha ha, true enough. I find you often see things most clearly, you brat. Sect leader, I wouldn't boast about other things, but you have to admit this much." Deng Rusong smiled helplessly. "I think you'd boast about anything." Hu Zhongshuan looked at you solemnly. Name your demands, whatever they may be." "Uncle, no rewards without merit. I haven't refined the reviving young pill yet." Though you said this, you actually weren't in a hurry to make demands. Having an ultimate grandmaster owe you a massive favor wasn't something to be satisfied with just any request. It needed careful consideration. At least currently you lacked for nothing, with no pressing needs. As for Yan Jishue's situation, it remained stable for now. Besides, if you really had Hu Zhangshuan confront Yan Jishue, you suspected he wouldn't stand a chance against her. Understanding your meaning, Hu Zhangshuan nodded. Take your time to think. Today, I'll burn some paper offerings for your master before returning to the capital. I'll go too, you said. The three of you came before Xia Huida's grave and burned many paper offerings. Now he'd have money to buy alchemy materials in the afterlife. Hu Zhangshuan departed that same day for the capital. After several days of cultivation at Danxia sect, you also left. Concealing your whereabouts, you went to find Lin Mo. In just 4 years, Lin Mo had advanced from bone-tempering peak to marrow-washing late stage, skyrocketing like a rocket. It made your heart pound with astonishment. Moreover, without joining any sect, Lin Mo had somehow obtained 2 sect-guarding level techniques and practiced them enthusiastically. The Fortune Child's series of fortunate encounters left you utterly dumbfounded. Uncle Yu, I've improved the Wandering Heaven steps. The speed increase is tremendous. You said, show me. Lin Mo shot skyward once more, pushing his speed to the limit. In an instant he flew into the distance, returning moments later. His speed now nearly matched that of the ultimate grandmasters you'd seen. Only his aerial endurance hadn't increased, a problem even Lin Mo couldn't solve. But this was a minor issue now. You shouted to Lin Mo in the sky, "Great sage, please retract your divine powers." Lin Mo slowly descended, excited. Uncle Yu, isn't the improved speed amazing? This time even you couldn't bring yourself to offer your usual discouraging remarks. You praised sincerely, Lin Mo. You've done exceptionally well. Thrilled by your praise, Lin Mo asked, Uncle Yu, the techniques you created back then must have been even more incredible, right? You froze, then narrowed your eyes, thinking this was his own doing. Clearing your throat, you asked, what do you think of the 9 condensation's profound skill? Lin Mo's eyes lit up immediately, showering the 9 condensation's profound skill with the most heartfelt praise he could muster. After listening to Lin Mo's compliments, you merely smiled faintly. You stood with your hands behind your back, gazing toward the horizon, and said calmly, the 9 condensation's profound skill is the one among my many creations that I can least be proud of. Lin Mo's eyes sparkled with admiration as he worshipped you with complete devotion. Uncle Yu, you're truly amazing. Ever since I learned the 9 condensation's profound skill, I've felt like I'm living in your shadow. You nodded lightly. My thoughts run too deep. It's normal for you to feel that way. Keep studying, it's very profound. At this point, you no longer cared and decided to fully embrace the act, shamelessly flaunting it. You knew if you didn't keep up the pretense now, you'd lose the chance. Lin Mo's cultivation would catch up to yours in a few years, and then all the facade would be exposed. So this last big performance was worth it. You then asked Lin Mo about forming a team. Lin Mo said that, following your instructions, he had formed a group of dozens of people. By being generous and broad-minded, Lin Mo had gathered a loyal core of fans around him. He called this group the Heavenly Tao Alliance, meaning to act on behalf of heaven's justice. From the name alone, it was clear that this group mostly consisted of wanted criminals who robbed the rich to aid the poor, arsonists, and murderers, hardly any decent folks. But you didn't care. As long as they obeyed Lin Mo, it was fine. Afterwards, you instructed Lin Mo to send trusted people to exhume the grave of Jiang the Barbarian's grandfather, Jiang Hui, and retrieve the items inside. Then, after a few months, have that person bring those items to a clinic you had set up in Yutong County to exchange for pills. If anyone investigated later, have that person claim they intended to settle in Xiangyue village and happened upon Jiang Hui's grave by accident. Lin Mo solemnly took note of your instructions. After you finished giving all the orders, you were about to leave. At the last moment, you added, have that person dissipate the true qi inside Jiang the Barbarian's body. This is a silver note worth 5,000 taels. Leave it with the village chief of Xiangyue village so he can take care of Jiang the Barbarian in the future. Lin Mo didn't ask any questions and immediately agreed. All right, Uncle Yu. I'll send my most trusted person to handle it. You nodded and left. Carrying the twice-improved Wandering Heaven steps, you returned to the Danxia sect. As soon as you arrived, you dove straight into training the Wandering Heaven steps. The 24th year. In a hidden valley 2 days' journey from Danxia sect. You were like a hawk fighting the vast sky, circling and soaring through the mountain streams. After a long time, you skillfully landed softly, standing firmly on the ground. Finally perfected. Your expression was elated. You had spent about half a year refining the twice-improved Wandering Heaven steps to completion. Your speed in the air was now comparable to an ultimate grandmaster. You could now remain airborne for 36 breaths, doubling the endurance time. Compared to the nearly infinite flight endurance of an ultimate grandmaster, the Wandering Heaven steps still fell short. But you were very satisfied with this effect. From now on, as long as you didn't get targeted by an ultimate grandmaster, you could go wherever you wanted. The Epsilon. During these 6 months, you had also been contemplating Earth Source. Combining the insights Hu Zhangshuan gave you, you finally made some progress. You comprehended a sword chi from the Earth Source. This sword chi looked no different from ordinary sword chi but was dozens of times more powerful. This super sword chi contained an aura that inexplicably made your heart tremble, extremely extraordinary. You planned to incorporate this super sword chi alongside ordinary sword chi when fighting enemies. With this sneaky tactic, even if an ultimate grandmaster appeared, one careless move and they'd fall into your trap. Ha ha ha, thrilling. You returned to Danxia sect. The issue of the next sect leader had now become an open problem within Danxia sect. Thanks to the vigorous efforts of 5th Elder Shinding Yuan, about 70% of the sect supported by Wenyu. Yu Yun and his personal disciple Wan Bai were gradually on the defensive. You didn't care how fiercely they fought, you simply focused on your own affairs. One day, you went to the clinic you had opened in Yutong County. After sitting for 3 days, a scholarly-looking man with a short beard came. The scholar deliberately chose a time when the clinic was empty. After sitting down, the scholar glanced at you and quietly said, "The king covers the earth tiger." Your eyes sharpened. Chicken stewed with mushrooms. The scholar cautiously looked around again. Pagoda suppresses river demon. You replied, "Mushrooms with chili." Scholar, comrade. You, comrade. You successfully made contact. Then the scholar quietly left. The next day, many people came to the clinic for treatment. It was peak hours. The scholar came again. As soon as he sat down, you two began your acting routine. The scholar pretended to be destitute, dumping all his belongings on your counter, letting you pick anything you wanted as long as he could get 5 blood chi pills. You looked disdainfully, casually selecting the extermination sex talisman, the bounty key, and a few other trivial items. You told him his stuff was worthless, but gave him 5 blood chi pills at a loss. The scholar was immensely grateful, smiling brightly as he left. You continued treating patients. The day after the scholar left, you went to the Dragon Gate Inn in the Tsangwang Desert. You found the innkeeper, a charming proprietress. You left a message with her, asking Wan Qingwan to come to Danxia sect when she had time. You had important matters to discuss. After finishing this, you returned to Danxia sect to continue cultivation and pill refining. 5 months later. The 25th year. Though Shinding Yuan's faction held the advantage in the struggle against Yu Yun, Deng Rusong had yet to declare his stance. This made Shinding Yuan and his disciple Bai Wenyu uneasy. So Shinding Yuan sent several elders loyal to him to probe Deng Rusong's intentions. However, Deng Rusong had not clearly expressed any leanings. Both sides were left uncertain. In truth, Deng Rusong was conflicted. He personally favored Wan Bai, the great elder side, because Wan Bai had stronger pill refining talent and a broader vision. But currently, support within the sect leaned toward Bai Wenyu on Shinding Yuan's side. If Deng Rusong appointed Wan Bai as sect leader, he would have to consider whether Wan Bai could effectively handle the position. If not handled well, it might affect the stability of Danxia sect. These were Deng Rusong's headaches. You didn't care. Though physically at Danxia sect, you felt like an outsider, quietly watching their staged performances back and forth. You were very satisfied with your state of being beyond the three realms and outside the five elements. You often invited Bai Qin and Jiao Mingxiu for drinks. Bai Qin no longer frequented brothels, now only a girl named Au was by his side. You knew Bai Qin was truly sincere this time. You calculated that Bai Qin had just turned 60 this year. You silently mused that even a prodigal like Bai Qin should turn over a new leaf at 60. Luckily, Bai Qin didn't let you dwell on this for long. That day, while drinking, Bai Qin brought a different girl and declared she was his one and only for life. Bai Qin never disappointed when it came to letting women down. You gave Bai Qin a thumbs up, no wonder your persona remains so solid. The prodigal Bai Qin had lost his head, how could he turn back? Jiao Mingxiu was much more steady. Though his pill-refining talent was poor, his martial talent was decent. He had reached the peak of bone-tempering cultivation. So he opened a martial arts school in Yutong County, teaching people boxing daily to earn a living. Jiao Mingxiu also said his daughter Jiao Xiaoa would get married next month. The groom was a scholar who had just passed the Xiutai imperial exam. Jiao Mingxiu was very supportive and satisfied with his daughter's marriage. Only then did you realize Jiao Xiaoa was already 15 years old, not the cute little girl who'd cry when teased anymore. Time flies like a white horse passing a gap. You had been focused on cultivation all these years, unaware how fast time had gone by. You raised your wine cup. Come on, two junior brothers, drunk or not returning. Drunk or not returning. Drunk or not returning. The three of you drank until completely drunk. Finally, He Yushan came to take Jiao Mingxiu away. Bai Chen was also supported by his new girl as he left. You were left alone. You staggered around the courtyard a few laps, thinking you had reached your bedroom. Then you lay down and fell asleep. The next morning, you woke to find yourself sleeping all night covered by a giant millstone. You had been performing chest-breaking stone crushing all night. You cursed, damn. No wonder my quilt was so hard. Wan Qingwan suddenly appeared at the courtyard gate. She tilted her head and said in a cold voice, "What did you say was very hard?" You glanced at Wan Qingwan, who had suddenly appeared, and said, "None of a child's business." Though confusion lingered in her eyes, Wan Qingwan truly didn't press further. You couldn't help but frown slightly. You felt that in this simulation, Wan Qingwan's thirst for knowledge seemed much weaker than before. She hadn't even asked once how you knew about the flaws in her cultivation technique. Even if she had asked, you would have just spouted nonsense, but her complete lack of curiosity still struck you as odd. This version of Wan Qingwan didn't seem nearly as unhinged. Is this another one of the extermination sect's new tricks? You wondered silently. You invited Wan Qingwan into the courtyard, where the two of you sat around the stone table on stone stools. You asked, "Did you see the message I left for you at the Dragon Gate Inn?" Wan Qingwan nodded. "Yes. You said you had something very important to tell me." With a faint smile, you directly placed the extermination sect token and bounty key on the table. Wan Qingwan's red lips parted slightly in surprise. "Oh? How do you have this key?" "So they really are your extermination sect's belongings," you said with an I knew it expression, quite pleased with your acting performance. Wan Qingwan nodded. "Where did you get it?" "A patient couldn't afford the pill fees, so they traded it to me." After examining the key twice, Wan Qingwan asked, "Can I have it?" You waved grandly. "Between us? We're practically best buds. For you, a friendship price, 500,000 taels." Wan Qingwan's delicate brows furrowed. "You don't actually want money." Your heart skipped a beat. Shit. Almost forgot this woman's scarily perceptive. She might see through my Oscar-worthy terrible acting. Quickly composing yourself, you tried to appear more natural. With calm composure, you said, "You saw through me. I just wanted to see how important this key is to your extermination sect." The corner of Wan Qingwan's lips curled slightly. "You could say it's quite important." "Oh? How so?" After glancing at you, Wan Qingwan explained about collecting all 5 keys. Listening intently, you paused after she finished. You began questioning, "So if you gather all 5 keys, sect leader Yen will do anything for you?" "Anything at all," Wan Qingwan replied, her tone identical to the third simulation. Trying to match that timeline's mindset, you asked, even kill herself on the spot? That too. Damn. You and Wan Qingwan completed the scripted and PC-like dialogue. You didn't dwell further, that would seem too deliberate. Handing over the key, you told her to give you something interesting in exchange. After some thought, Wan Qingwan gave you a mind-awakening technique manual. The technique could clear one's spiritual platform and maintain mental clarity. Hold up, mental clarity? You skeptically flipped through the pages. Coming from an extermination sect member, how credible is that? Unfazed, Wan Qingwan calmly said, without practicing the mind-awakening technique, we'd be even crazier. Fair point, absolutely flawless. You couldn't help but applaud her. You mused that the extermination sect's ancestors must have worried endlessly over their descendants. Knowing their techniques would drive them mad, they created the mind-awakening technique. Like endlessly adding water to flour, then flour to water. Eventually the brain would short-circuit from internal conflict. Glancing at Wan Qingwan mid-thought, she suddenly stated, "You're insulting me." Lady, I haven't said a fucking word. Your eyes are wrong. If that's what you think, I can't help it. Now you can't help it? You had plenty of solutions when pursuing me. Are you mixing up scripts or something? After a thoughtful pause, Wan Qingwan said, "My apologies, got too immersed in character." Then I'll take my leave. Wan Qingwan rose from the stone stool and walked toward the courtyard gate. You also stood to see her out, having achieved your goal with no intention of detaining her. At the gate, Wan Qingwan hesitated briefly. Turning back with a hint of expectation in her eyes, she asked, "Don't you have anything else to say?" You spread your hands. Nothing comes to mind. Pursing her lips, Wan Qingwan ultimately said nothing and simply left with a swish of her hips. Frowning, you called after her, "Next time, could you pat your own ass?" Wan Qingwan snorted without looking back. Watching her departing figure, your calm demeanor gave way to excitement. Go on, collect those keys diligently, make your wish. 1 month later, you achieved initial achievement in the mind-awakening technique. Your martial talent now handled top-tier techniques with effortless ease. The technique sharpened your mental focus and clarity. Most importantly, it helped maintain lucidity against mind-affecting attacks like soundwave assaults with greater composure. On a whim, you activated both the mind-awakening technique and divine microvision simultaneously. To your delight, this directly elevated divine microvision from initial achievement to small success. Ecstatic, you exclaimed, "This mind-awakening technique truly refreshes. I've never felt more clear-headed." At small success, divine microvision succeeded 5 or 6 times out of 10 attempts, with cooldown reduced from 6 days to 2. But the greatest improvement was duration, exploding from 15 minutes to 4 hours. That endurance would make anyone's jaw drop. 4 hours sufficed for refining 3rd or 4th grade pills, vastly increasing practicality. Pondering further, you activated both techniques again and began 6th grade pill refinement. With double buffs, you smoothly produced 5 6th grade pills, reaching small success proficiency. You edged closer to 7th grade pill refiner status. Achieving that would allow assisting Deng Rusong in reviving Yang pill refinement. Successfully reviving Ansherfu with the pill would fulfill Xia Huida's dying wish. With Divine Microvision's epic advancement, you decided to strike while the iron was hot and began comprehending Earth Source. You immersed yourself in new cultivation. However, the next day, Jiao Mingxiu visited. He informed you Jiao Xiaoyao's wedding would occur in 2 days and requested you serve as officiant. You advised him to be socially savvy and invite Deng Rusong instead. At this, Jiao Mingxiu stiffened his neck, insisting both he and He Yushan only wanted you as officiant. After consideration, you agreed. Firstly, you knew the couple remained grateful for your past help and respected you deeply. Secondly, Jiao Mingxiu barely interacted with Deng Rusong. Among hundreds of ordinary Danxia sect disciples, few developed close ties with the sect leader. You were the exception. Even among all personal disciples, you stood closest to Deng Rusong. 2 days later, Jiao Xiaoyao's wedding commenced at a large courtyard Jiao Mingxiu had purchased in Yutong County. Jiao Mingxiu had earned considerable silver through operating a martial arts school and selling pills, no longer the poor young man he once was. Jiao Xiaoyao's husband only had a mother but no father, and having just passed the imperial examination at the county level, it was more like he had married into Jiao Mingxiu's family. For this wedding banquet, Jiao Mingxiu hired the culinary team from Yutong County's most expensive restaurant. This was the same restaurant where you, Jiao Mingxiu, and Baichen had your first meal together. Back then, Baichen had invited you to eat but was too stingy to spend money, forcing the three of you to stand up and leave after already being seated. The courtyard was now filled with distinguished guests and bustling with excitement. Jiao Mingxiu and He Yushan were busy welcoming guests, barely having time to catch their breath. You and Baichen sat at the main table. Baichen glanced at the dishes on the table. Senior brother, do you remember that restaurant? You set down the wine cup you had just picked up. Of course I remember. That meal you promised to treat me to back then. I still haven't gotten it. Baichen chuckled. What can I say, senior brother? If it were inviting you to a brothel, I wouldn't blink no matter how much it cost. But paying for that overpriced meal? I still refuse to waste my money. You clinked cups with Baichen. Well said. You truly haven't forgotten your roots, you old rascal. At this moment, Jiao Mingxiu approached and said to you, Senior brother, come with me to the main hall. The newlyweds are about to perform the bowing ceremony. You asked in surprise, what does the bowing ceremony have to do with me? You're the officiant. According to etiquette, the newlyweds must bow to you. Normally, the officiant would be the groom's father or grandfather, someone of prestige. Given Jiao Xiaoyao's special circumstances, they had asked you to sit in the officiant's position. You had no choice but to follow Jiao Mingxiu to the main hall and accept the newlyweds' ceremonial bows. After attending Jiao Xiaoyao's wedding banquet, night had already fallen. You returned to Danxia sect. You planned to begin comprehending the earth source. To better maintain your divine microvision state, you first completed the 9th condensation of your 9 condensations profound skill. After achieving 9 condensations, entering divine microvision became much smoother. Upon activating divine microvision, your consciousness entered the spatial realm. This time you had 2 hours to work with, and your mindset was much calmer. Through exploration, you finally grasped the patterns of the Earth Source's sword energy. You discovered 24 primary sword energies surrounding the Earth Source, with all other seemingly chaotic sword energies deriving from these 24. Gradually, you realized that comprehending these 24 primary sword energies would allow you to uncover the Earth Source's ultimate secret. You recalled having already comprehended 1 sword energy before, meaning you still needed to comprehend 23 more. Without delay, you immediately began comprehending the Earth Source's sword energies. Hu Zhongshuan's notes on comprehending the Earth Source proved extremely helpful. You painstakingly groped your way forward, making gradual progress. Year 26. After a year of dedicated work, you comprehended 3 more Earth Source sword energies, totaling 4 including the previous one. These 4 sword energies were tremendously powerful. Even you could barely withstand them. Considering your combat power was already equivalent to peak dragon transformation, you couldn't imagine what kind of power mastering 20 would bring. After some thought, you had a startling realization. Could mastering all 24 sword energies allow me to challenge an ultimate grandmaster? You shook your head. I hope I never get to test that theory. Whether I could or not, I'd probably have to start over. When releasing these 4 sword energies, the heart-palpitating sensation grew increasingly intense. You speculated this might be due to traces of source power attached to the sword energy. Source power was a higher-level energy only accessible to ultimate grandmasters who had fully fused with the Earth Source. The fact that you could faintly sense it excited you tremendously. You also perfected the mind-awakening technique, allowing you to enter deep meditation and your most focused state at will. This state greatly aided your pill refining. You could now refine 6 6th-grade pills at once. Though your 6th-grade pill proficiency was still at the minor achievement level, you were just 1 step away from major achievement. During breaks from cultivation, you noticed the Danxia sect's leadership struggle had reached an odd equilibrium. Both factions realized that no matter how fiercely they competed, Deng Rusing remained non-committal, keeping both sides in suspense. Their eyes were practically green with frustration. If not for Deng Rusong's overwhelming strength, they would have grabbed him by the collar and demanded answers. Just as both sides tacitly ceased hostilities, Deng Rusing finally made his decision. On this day, he convened a sect-wide assembly attended by all Donxia sect members. Hundreds of people crowded the sect square. Deng Rusing pressed his hands downward in the air as if hitting a mute button, instantly silencing the entire gathering. Without preamble, Deng Rusing announced, "I have decided that Donxia sect's next leader will be Grand Elder Yu Yun's personal disciple, Ruan Bai." With this final pronouncement, the entire sect erupted in uproar. This outcome had defied most expectations. Only Yu Yun's faction secretly rejoiced at their come-from-behind victory. However, appointing Ruan Bai as successor didn't quell internal conflicts. If anything, undercurrents grew stronger. Fifth Elder Shin Dingyuan's faction was particularly resentful, obstructing Ruan Bai both openly and covertly. Ruan Bai simply wanted to maintain Donxia sect's stability, precisely why Deng Rusong valued him most. But this only emboldened Shin Dingyuan's faction to escalate their actions. Fortunately, Deng Rusing's forceful suppression kept Shin Dingyuan and Bai Wenyu temporarily at bay. Year 27. You received word from Wan Qingwan that she had acquired 2 more keys, bringing her total to 3. You knew your plan was drawing closer to fruition. This feeling of controlling events through foreknowledge was somewhat intoxicating. The satisfaction of defeating a general from 1,000 miles away is truly wonderful. At Donxia sect, under Deng Rusing's guidance, Ruan Bai appeared to be gradually taking control of sect affairs, with the succession proceeding smoothly. But in reality, Shin Dingyuan's faction remained unwilling to concede. One day, Deng Rusong came to your courtyard. Without a word, he went straight to the rocking chair and lay down. After rocking creakily for a while unsatisfactorily, he stood up and paced restlessly. You could tell he wanted to discuss the leadership succession with you. You were the only person in the sect he could speak openly with about this matter. After watching him quietly for a moment, you smiled. Sect leader, why trouble yourself over a decision already made? Deng Rusong sighed lightly. While I'm here, I can still suppress Fifth Elder's faction. After I'm gone, Donxia sect will likely face turmoil. You calculated. Deng Rusong was already 104 years old with limited time left to oversee Ruan Bai. Sect leader, if you'd chosen Bai Wenyu last year, you wouldn't have this worry now. He's too focused on petty rivalries and displays of toughness. His vision is too narrow. If Donxia sect fell into his hands, turmoil would be the least of our problems. We might face decline or even destruction, with diuresis. At this point, Deng Rusong looked at you with an expression like a jilted lover. A chill ran down your spine. Sect leader, don't look at me like that. All I did was decline the leadership position. That doesn't warrant such a gaze. Deng Rusong continued as if talking to himself. You have ambition and courage, but since your aspirations lie elsewhere, I won't insist. I only hope that if Donxia sect ever faces true calamity, you'll do what you can to help. You smiled. Sect leader, setting aside whether I'm capable, if that day comes, it wouldn't be my place to intervene. Isn't there still Elder Hu Zhongshuan? Deng Rusong nodded. True, but Zhongshuan is only half a Donxia sect member. He can't devote himself fully to our affairs. Having said this, Deng Rusing stood and left your courtyard. As he walked away, he murmured, speaking of which, I did summon Zhongshuan from the capital today. I'd nearly forgotten. Forgetting something like that? You must be getting senile, old man. You shook your head and returned to cultivation, clearly sensing the opportunity to break through to peak organ fortifying. You devoted yourself to cultivation for half a month. Without any surprises, you directly broke through to the peak of the organ fortifying realm. The waterfall-like true qi surging through your body ensured your formidable combat power. After achieving perfection in organ fortifying, your 5 organs became unified, strengthening the last weak points of a martial artist. From this moment on, your physical body was comprehensively enhanced from external muscles to internal organs. With your peak organ fortifying realm and the 9 condensations of true chi completed through the 9 condensations profound skill, your actual combat power could now easily defeat martial artists at the peak of dragon transformation. However, you still couldn't directly confront an early-stage grandmaster. But if an early-stage grandmaster really provoked you, killing them wasn't entirely impossible. You could shamelessly use Wandering Heaven Steps combined with 4 Earth Source Sword Chi for indiscriminate aerial bombardment. An early-stage grandmaster? They'd still be forced to eat dirt. Though this method was rather violent, as a kind-hearted person, you wouldn't use it lightly. Okay, the truth was releasing 4 Earth Source Sword Chi would drain nearly all your true chi, meaning if your opponent didn't die you would. Regardless, even without relying on such unorthodox methods, your current stable ability to surpass 2 major realms was already astonishing enough to be specimen-worthy. That afternoon, after Hu Zhongshuan finished talking with Deng Rusong, he came to see you. The two of you sat around a stone table, drinking light tea. The sect leader told me about Danxia sect's situation. What do you think? You smiled. With an ultimate grandmaster like you watching over things, I can just relax and enjoy the show. Hu Zhongshuan smiled wryly. Just as the sect leader said, you really have no interest in these power struggles. Did the sect leader tell you anything else? Hu Zhongshuan fell silent before saying after a long pause, the sect leader's condition has deteriorated significantly. You frowned, realizing why Deng Rusang had summoned Hu Zhongshuan back to Danxia sect today. He undoubtedly wanted Hu Zhongshuan to help Ruan Bai smoothly succeed as sect leader after Deng Rusong's passing. In the twilight of his life, Deng Rusang's control over Danxia sect had gradually weakened, forcing him to recall Hu Zhongshuan as a stabilizing force. After verifying these thoughts with Hu Zhongshuan, they were confirmed correct. Hu Zhongshuan then mentioned Deng Wanshu, saying Deng Rusang's condition made him unable to refine the reviving young pill, leaving the task solely to you. Hu Zhongshuan sighed lightly. I hope you can become an 8th grade pill refiner. I'll do everything in my power to meet any of your requests. You smiled. No need for such courtesy, Uncle Master. This is also my master's dying wish. But there is something I'd like your help with. Hu Zhongshuan looked at you seriously. Go ahead. I'd like you to investigate Danzhou Prefect Duan Qian for me, as thoroughly as possible, including his associates and the experts around him. Duan Qian. Hu Zhongshuan looked puzzled. What conflict do you have with him? You casually replied, just minor friction. Hu Zhongshuan pondered. This is simple. I'll investigate for you. Feel free to make other requests later. Pleased with Hu Zhongshuan's cooperation, you considered this investigation as advance interest payment for reviving your martial aunt. As for advancing to 8th grade pill refiner, you were highly confident with your divine microvision and mind awakening technique. But you didn't give Hu Zhongshuan absolute assurance, avoiding potential embarrassment if things went wrong. While thick-skinned, you still cared about saving face. After more casual conversation, Hu Zhongshuan left Danxia sect for the capital. You continued cultivating. You had already brought the Star River Blade art to peak organ fortifying. Over 3 months, you elevated the Heavenly Desire formless technique to peak organ fortifying. Simultaneously, you easily pushed the Wild Heaven Saber technique to peak organ fortifying. Thus, as an organ fortifying cultivation method, Wild Heaven Saber technique had been mastered completely. The Lightning Shadow Sword technique, also an organ fortifying method, was similarly raised to peak level. You didn't bother with other sword techniques as they wouldn't directly aid your Earth Source comprehension and would only waste energy. You began focusing on Earth Source comprehension. Year 29. With initial mastery of Divine Microvision, your Earth Source comprehension progressed smoothly. Within a year, you comprehended 4 more Earth Source Sword Chi. Of the 24 Earth Source Sword Chi, you had now mastered 8. When releasing these 8 Sword Chi, their overwhelming source power made even you unable to withstand them. An early-stage Grandmaster would flee covering their rear. Tensions in Danxia sect escalated, with storms brewing on the horizon. Deng Rusong, now 106 years old, was approaching his limit, his condition visibly declining. He had essentially relinquished sect management to Ruan Bai. This gave Xinding Yuan's faction opportunities to obstruct Ruan Bai's leadership and vie for control. Though Grand Elder Yu Yun tried supporting Ruan Bai, being only slightly younger than Deng Rusong, his efforts were limited. When Deng Rusong visited Yu now, he often slept whole days in a rocking chair. Yu generally didn't disturb him, quietly cultivating nearby. One day, Hu Zhongshuan returned from the capital. As Deng Rusong could no longer care for Deng Wanshu, he had Hu Zhongshuan take her away. Hu Zhongshuan transported Deng Wanshu, bed and all. He also brought information about Duan Qian. Handing you a thick envelope, Hu Zhongshuan then departed. The envelope contained all available intelligence on Duan Qian, extremely detailed, even recording his underwear color preferences. After multiple careful readings, you extracted useful information. You found Duan Qian largely unremarkable. Like typical corrupt officials, his hobbies included exploiting commoners, heavy taxation, embezzlement, factionalism, bribery, profiteering, selling offices, and other traditional activities. However, two aspects stood out. First, Duan Qian had a peak Grandmaster bodyguard constantly at his side, likely due to his many misdeeds. You recalled your fourth simulation where this shadow guard probably beheaded you. Second, Duan Qian was closely connected to Prince Yongning Liu, a martial arts prodigy who had reached Grandmaster realm at a young age. After analyzing this, you formed a plan. This simulation, you intended to confront Duan Qian, but only after achieving overwhelming superiority against peak grandmasters. Prince Yongning also warranted attention. After reading, you burned the letter without trace. Days later, you received another letter from Wan Qingwan with updates on her extermination sect bounty key collection. Wan Qingwan informs you she has collected 2 more bounty keys. Now Wan Qingwan possesses 4 bounty keys in total, needing only the final one to make her wish. You grow excited. Just one last step remains before the sword of Damocles, represented by Yan Jishuet, is lifted from your neck. Somewhat regrettably, the bounty key inherited from your third simulation is identical to the one you previously gave Wan Qingwan. Otherwise, you could have set up a scheme to directly deliver the final key to her. Still, it's nearly done now, just one key remains. During this period, you occasionally checked in on Lin Mo. The 20-year-old Lin Mo had reached late-stage organ fortifying cultivation, just one minor realm below you. Moreover, Lin Mo appeared on the verge of breaking through to peak organ fortifying. This good news weighs heavily on your heart as you offer your final insincere praise, telling Lin Mo he resembles your younger self. Lin Mo happily accepts your compliment as always. Lin Mo's Heavenly Dao Alliance has expanded further. They've even purchased land to establish a mountain gate and proper headquarters. The cultivation techniques and funds Lin Mo used to build his sect all came through peculiar means, some found, some gifted, some encountered by chance. Truly, the terror of a protagonist's luck defies understanding. You can't comprehend Lin Mo's miraculous feats, being merely an ordinary cheat user yourself. You return to Danxia sect to focus on mastering divine microvision. You aim to push divine microvision to grandmaster proficiency. Deng Rusang has practically ceased leaving his quarters. During your frequent visits, he only speaks to you in weak tones. His speech has become increasingly incoherent, one moment urging you to become sect leader, the next insisting Xia Hueda will lead Danxia sect to glory. You patiently respond to each disjointed statement. One day, while attending Ding Rusong, a panting disciple rushes in shouting, "Sect leader! Senior brother he! The Grand Elder has passed." You're surprised. You hadn't expected Yu Yun to depart before Ding Rusong, though this observation isn't meant as a curse. Hearing the news, Ding Rusong musters some energy. "You, accompany me." Ding Rusong slowly rises to his feet. You escort Ding Rusong to pay respects, where he offers Wan Bai condolences. Ding Rusong barely manages to preside over Yu Yun's funeral before the burial. With Yu Yun gone, Wan Bai loses his primary supporter. Combined with Ding Rusong's fading capacity to lead, most remaining supporters defect to Shin Dingyuan and Bai Wenyu's faction. Shin Dingyuan and Bai Wenyu no longer bother pretending, openly mocking and humiliating the future sect leader Wan Bai without restraint. Outnumbered, Wan Bai can only retreat step by step. Effectively, Wan Bai has already been sidelined. One day, during your courtyard cultivation, Shin Dingyuan approaches you. He comes to recruit you, having somehow learned the sect leadership was originally meant for you. He viciously disparages Wan Bai while lavishing praise on you. Shin Dingyuan insists Wan Bai stole your position, hoping to sway you into opposing the future sect leader. You slowly open your eyes mid-cultivation. Final warning, I don't care about leadership. Don't interrupt my cultivation again. Your cold gaze makes the mid-stage dragon transformation Shin Dingyuan's eyelids twitch. Though inwardly shocked, he maintains surface composure. Considering your close ties to Hu Zhongshuan, he keeps his tone measured. He persists, "Nephew I'm advocating for your interests." Though denied leadership, the seventh elder's lineage needs your continuation. Bang! The courtyard gate slams shut automatically, leaving Shin Dingyuan outside. His expression darkens before he storms away. You resume cultivation. After 8 days intensely training divine microvision, you near mastery. On the 9th day, sudden inspiration strikes, your eyes snap open. Instantly, you enter divine microvision state. The world appears clearer than ever. Every detail stands out vividly: bees gathering pollen, ants transporting insect carcasses. Your divine microvision reaches Grandmaster proficiency, matching Xia Hueda's former level. At this stage, attempts succeed 7 or 8 times out of 10. Duration extends from 2 hours to 12, a full day. Cooldown shrinks from 2 days to just 1. Not wasting the state, you immediately begin breakthrough attempts. You start pushing 6th grade pill proficiency. Setting up the cauldron, lighting the fire, adding ingredients. In mere hours, your nearly maxed proficiency reaches completion. A fragrant batch of 6th grade pills emerges. Lifting the lid reveals 8 perfect pills, official certification as a 6th grade pill refiner. Overjoyed, you rush to Deng Rusing's courtyard to share the news. But Deng Rusing struggles to even open his eyes, sleeping constantly. Attendants inform you he can no longer metabolize pills. You understand Deng Rusing's life has entered its final countdown. Year 30, age 45, Deng Rusong, 107. These past months, you've cultivated daily in Deng Rusing's courtyard. Today, you arrive as usual. After checking on the bedridden Deng Rusong, you transfer true qi to aid his pill absorption. Turning to leave for courtyard cultivation, Deng Rusong's hand suddenly grabs yours. Shocked, you turn to see him smiling and sitting up. Your heart sinks. Sect leader. You, how fares Danxia sect? His tone remains ordinary. After consideration, you reply, Danxia sect thrives. That's good. Has Wanshu awakened? She has, living in the capital with martial uncle. That's good. Why hasn't your master come? He's breaking through to 9th grade pill refiner, hence his absence. That's good. Where's Jishue? Does my father still disapprove? He's accepted her. She's discussing wedding arrangements with her parents. That's good. I'm tired now. I'll sleep. Remember to wake me tomorrow. Rest well, sect leader. I'll wake you tomorrow. Soon, Deng Rusing's steady breathing begins. Gradually, the breaths grow faint. Finally, they cease entirely. Deng Rusong is dead. You stand before Deng Rusong's bed, silent for a long time. No more waiting now. Yan Jishue's voice suddenly appears. You startle in alarm, turning to see Yan Jishue, who had somehow appeared beside you. Sect leader Yan Yu. Yan Jishue's demeanor remains gentle, her smile elegant. Back then, he said to come find him after he became family head. Now, he said to come find him after his death. I'm always waiting. After pondering, you choose your words carefully. Perhaps the sect leader simply didn't wish sect leader Yan to see his diminished state these past 2 years. But I never actually waited. A faint smugness flashes in Yan Jishue's eyes. I watched him from afar every day back then. And these past 2 years, I never left for a single day. Yan Jishue maintains her slight smile, showing no trace of sorrow. You can't decipher her emotions. After speaking, she turns to you, smile unchanged, yet you feel an inexplicable pressure. Without another word, Yan Jishue gives a light laugh and departs immediately, without hesitation. The news of Deng Rusong's death spreads, and the entire Danxia sect dons mourning white. Many disciples weep genuine tears. The next sect leader, Wan Bai, cries the most dramatically. He hadn't wept this bitterly even when his master Yuyun died. Shinding Yuan and Bai Wenyu also cry, so hard they nearly laugh aloud. At the funeral, Yan Jishue returns. She stands quietly before Deng Rusong's grave for a moment, then leaves directly. She comes and goes the same day. Not a single tear falls during the funeral. Only when Yan Jishue finally flies away do you see her rub at her beautiful eyes midair. Perhaps the winds up high were too strong, irritating her eyes. Hu Zhongshuan rushes over the same day he receives your message. He brings Deng Wanchu along, having upgraded her equipment. The cold jade bed has become a cold jade coffin, now with sliding lid. Very convenient for Hu Zhongshuan to take Deng Wanchu out. Upon arriving, Hu Zhongshuan takes full control of Danxia sect affairs per Deng Rusong's instructions. Hu Zhongshuan ensures Wan Bai's smooth succession. Wan Bai officially becomes the new Danxia sect leader. Under Hu Zhongshuan's forceful suppression, Shinding Yuan and Bai Wenyu dare not make trouble. 2 months later, Wan Bai gradually consolidates control. One day, Hu Zhongshuan finds you. He warns you not to touch Duan Qian, as Duan Qian has extremely close ties to Prince Yongning Liu. Targeting Duan Qian means targeting Liu, which means provoking the entirely imperial clan, unthinkable consequences. You smile. Don't worry, Uncle Master. I know what to do. Hu Zhongshuan considers this, then nods and leaves. That same day, Hu Zhongshuan departs Danxia sect. Shinding Yuan and Bai Wenyu begin stirring again. As Wan Bai always considers the bigger picture and maintains impartiality, appearing to treat all equally without favoritism, he actually pleases no one and offends everyone, with grave new. Disciples feel following Wan Bai makes no difference from not following him, so why bother? Thus Wan Bai lacks any strong faction or steadfast supporters, his foundation weak. Shinding Yuan notices this and begins lobbying factions, offering benefits, mixing threats with rewards. Within half a year, he wins over more than half the sects. Wan Bai's position becomes precarious again. One morning, just as you wake, Shinding Yuan visits your courtyard again. This time he's smarter, standing inside your courtyard so he can't be locked out. Not just Shinding Yuan and Bai Wenyu come, but representatives from 3 other elder factions too. Shinding Yuan says they need you to represent Xia Huida's faction in jointly deposing Wan Bai and installing Bai Wenyu as leader. Still wary of your connection to Hu Zhongshuan. He says politely, "Nephew, just publicly support us at tomorrow's assembly. Name any condition." This Shinding Yuan buzzes around like an annoying fly, his third attempt to recruit you. You tolerated him twice out of respect for Deng Rusong's former subordinate, but this leech won't detach. Your patience finally snaps. Today, you'll show them something colorful. Or they'll keep mistaking your silence for weakness. You glare coldly at Shinding Yuan and slowly rise. Didn't I say last time was the final warning? Your direct challenge humiliates Shinding Yuan before the others. Bai Wenyu flares up at your disrespect. You know your place. I don't need your support to become leader. The calmer Shin Dingyuan scolds, Wenyu. Stand down. Bai Wenyu wants to argue but shrinks under Shin Dingyuan's glare. You observe Shin Dingyuan, thinking how experience trumps youth. Shin Dingyuan forces a laugh. Nephew Wenyu spoke out of turn. Your gaze shifts to Bai Wenyu. Your soul-awakening blade materializes in hand, its darkness like a black hole drawing all eyes. Seeing you draw your weapon secretly pleases Shin Dingyuan. At mid-dragon transformation stage, he considers peak organ fortifying realm no threat. He hopes you'll attack first. Killing you could be framed as self-defense even Hu Zhongshuan couldn't dispute. His tone turned sharp. You. How dare you draw your blade? Even your dead master wouldn't be this insolent. Your gaze slowly shifts from Bai Wenyu to Shin Dingyuan. Your calm voice drips menace. You compete for everything. Even cutting in death's line. As words fade, you vanish. Shin Dingyuan only sees a blur. Before he comprehends, alarm bells scream in his mind. Death's approach chokes him. Shocked, he instinctively retreats. But you anticipate this, flashing behind him. Now facing Shin Dingyuan's back as he stumbles backward toward you. No, Shin Dingyuan glimpses you with peripheral vision. Scree. The blade flashes. Shin Dingyuan's terror cuts off mid-word. Thud. His body hits the ground. In the spreading blood pool lie two halves. One is Shin Dingyuan, the other is also Shin Dingyuan. A dragon transformation martial artist was instantly killed by your single slash. Everything happened in an instant, and ended just as quickly. The terrified Bai Wenyu nearby resembled a rooster with its neck squeezed, only managing to produce hoarse-gurgling sounds after much effort. His fear-twisted face appeared extremely ferocious. The others were also frightened speechless by the scene, instinctively assuming defensive postures. But if they couldn't even defeat Shin Dingyuan at mid-stage dragon transformation, how could they possibly be your match? You glanced at them but waved your hand. You can leave. Bai Wenyu and the others could hardly believe their ears. The group first exchanged terrified glances, then immediately scattered like relieved burdens, fleeing from your courtyard in a frantic, stumbling rush. Wait a moment, you said calmly. They immediately froze in place, not daring to move. You walked toward Bai Wenyu and asked, "Did I tell you to leave?" Yes. Zing. Bai Wenyu's head separated from his body, blood from his neck artery spurting 3 meters high. Your voice held no emotion. I told you to leave, so why did you run? The others immediately broke out in cold sweat. They had all started running earlier. You looked at them, your people of other elders. Yes. Senior brother we're not Shin Dingyuan's people. My master is the second elder. My master is the fourth elder. Senior brother, I'm the third elder's personal disciple." They hurriedly declared their affiliations, invoking their respective masters. You nodded. I see. Then I understand. I'll notify them to recruit new disciples. Huh? Senior brother, no. Senior brother, he's spare. Several concentrated blade flashes later, all of them were dead. You sheathed your soul-awakening blade and stood in the courtyard, gazing at the not yet fully risen morning sun beyond the mountains. My morning temper is still too strong. This isn't good. The news of you killing Shinding Yuan and the others spread throughout Danxia sect that very day. This incident caused an uproar throughout the sect. Danxia sect members only knew you as someone who focused entirely on cultivation and pill refining, never involving yourself in sect affairs. They assumed that after Xia Huida's death, you had lost your backer and were forced to keep a low profile. They never dared imagine that your usual unassuming demeanor concealed the ability to kill mid-stage dragon transformation Shinding Yuan. Especially when Danxia sect members saw the corpses, they were utterly shocked. The elders who lost disciples were as silent as cicadas in winter, not daring to utter a word. No matter how skilled they were at pill refining, they would still die if killed. This was ultimately a world where martial power reigned supreme. If Hu Zhangxuan were removed from Danxia sect, you would be the sect's top combatant. These elders' cultivation levels were mostly inferior to Shinding Yuan's, making them utterly incapable of challenging you. You even specially went to tell them, hurry up and recruit some new disciples to continue the line. Don't let Danxia sect's legacy break. We'll recruit. We'll recruit immediately. We'll post notices right now. The terrified elders repeatedly agreed. I'm really worrying too much about the sect, you muttered while walking back. Upon hearing the news of Shinding Yuan and Bai Wenyu's deaths, current sect leader Wan Bai cried tears of joy. Previously, Wan Bai hadn't paid much attention to you, only knowing you seemed close to Deng Rusong. When suffering Shinding Yuan's oppression, he never considered seeking your help. In his view, you were just another personal disciple like himself. Seeking your help would be useless. Only after today did he realize your usefulness was fucking enormous. Your thigh was too thick. Wan Bai even wanted to cling to your leg forever without letting go. In his heart, you were his great benefactor. Wan Bai rushed anxiously to your courtyard that same day. He immediately had people remove the corpses and thoroughly cleaned your area 4 or 5 times. Then Wan Bai cautiously said to you, benefactor, no, senior brother, please accept the position of sect leader. Hearing Wan Bai's words, you looked at him calmly. I'm not interested in being sect leader. Do your job well, I have high hopes for you. Wan Bai's expression stiffened. Unable to discern your sincerity, he said anxiously, then would senior brother be willing to become the sect's grand elder? Wan Bai's face showed nothing but polite inquiry, fearing any displeasing word might get him chopped down. I don't want any position. Just don't disturb my cultivation in the future. Wan Bai felt uncertain. Understood. As you wish, senior brother. May I leave now? Wait. What further instructions does senior brother have? This sect leader adopted the humblest posture, treating you with utmost respect. After some thought, you said, like my master, I'll be the 7th elder. Wan Bai immediately agreed joyfully. He wasn't afraid of you making demands, he feared you having none. As long as you actually made requests, Wan Bai could feel slightly more at ease. What he feared most was your immense power combined with unpredictability. You naturally understood Wan Bai's concerns. You only requested to be 7th elder to reassure him about managing Danxia sect. After all, Wan Bai was Deng Rusong's chosen successor, and you wanted him focused on leading Danxia sect. However, you emphasized to Wan Bai that this was merely an honorary title to commemorate Xia Huida. You wouldn't manage sect affairs or take disciples. Wan Bai naturally noted everything. After the turmoil, Danxia sect returned to peace. But disregarding your instructions, Wan Bai would still occasionally bring major sect matters for your decision. Whether he was testing your attitude or genuinely showing utmost respect didn't matter to you. After being scolded by you several times, he finally understood you truly wouldn't interfere in sect affairs or contend for power. Thus, with Shinding Yuan's major threat eliminated, Wan Bai gradually gained real control of Danxia sect, managing it according to Dang Rusing's expectations. You became Danxia sect's uninvolved seventh elder and its stabilizing pillar. With the entire sect stabilized again, you could continue cultivating peacefully. Year 31. In a secluded valley, two terrifying sword chi beams of immense power shot forth. Boom! Two small mountain peaks several zhang high were cleanly severed, collapsing with thunderous noise and raising clouds of dust. Standing midair, you nodded in satisfaction. You had comprehended 2 more Earth Source Sword Chi, bringing your total to 10 out of 24. You were quite satisfied with this progress, especially since sword arts weren't your specialty, otherwise you'd have progressed faster. Although Earth Source Sword Chi could kill early-stage grandmasters, with your current organ-fortifying peak cultivation, you could unleash at most 6 Sword Chi before exhausting yourself. But most annoyingly, you happen to be a pill refiner. Feeling drained? A handful of internal spirit pills would restore your masculine vigor. Theoretically, you had unlimited firing rights with Earth Source Sword Chi. In actual combat, you could shovel internal spirit pills into your mouth with one hand while continuously unleashing Earth Source Sword Chi with the other, your body becoming a Gatling gun. As long as the barrel didn't overheat, you were unlimited firepower. Although this method placed tremendous strain on your body, causing irreversible damage to your foundational roots. But did you care? Obviously not. What significance did a mere body hold? You could discard this worthless life anytime, just restart if needed. You couldn't help marveling, this cheat of mine wasn't wasted. After this reflection, you suddenly flew toward Danxia sect, disappearing beyond the horizon. Soon, you returned to Danxia sect. You received word from Wan Qingwan that she had collected all 5 bounty keys, and she would visit you at Danxia sect next month. Little one's quite capable, finally got all 5 keys. You felt somewhat excited, but then you frowned suspiciously. Why is she coming to me instead of seeking Yan Jixue to make her wish? After some contemplation, you still couldn't figure out Wan Qingwan's intentions despite feeling something was off. You temporarily set the matter aside and refocused on cultivation and pill refining. For the past 2 years, you'd been attempting to refine 7th-grade pills without success. Today, you prepared to try again. You placed an exquisite pill furnace before you. Xia Hueda had left you 2 furnaces, this practical one you'd obtained through your own efforts, and another commemorative model he'd specifically bequeathed to you on his deathbed. You treasured the commemorative furnace dearly, never using it for refining, only occasionally as an ashtray. Activating your divine microvision and mind-awakening technique, you began adding ingredients to the practical furnace. With precise control, you guided the materials through transformation and fusion. Every step was completed with full concentration. Finally, with solemn expression, you opened the furnace lid. Your grave expression immediately transformed into joy. 2 perfectly formed 7th-grade pills lay before you, looking utterly adorable. Damn, finally cracked it. Your 7th-grade pill refining skills had finally reached entry level, putting you halfway into the ranks of high-level pill refiners. 1 month later, in your courtyard, you actually collected all the keys, you said with mild excitement, observing Wan Qingwan. The coldly elegant woman spread her hands, displaying 5 exquisitely crafted keys of varying designs. A faint smile played on her lips while subtle intoxication flickered in her eyes. Indeed, genuine happiness colored your voice. Then go make your wish. Wan Qingwan's red lips curved as she asked, "Do you have any wishes?" Your brow twitched. "I eat well and sleep soundly. No wishes." Then, her smile deepened. "Do you have any enemies? The kind that must be killed?" Her current demeanor strongly reminded you of her 3rd simulation incarnation. Her mental state seemed beautifully unhinged. You suspected her cultivation progress had intensified her technique's influence. Laughing, you replied, "I'm always amicable. If someone steps on my foot, I apologize for their shoe's discomfort. How could I have enemies?" Wan Qingwan gave a light smile. "Then I'll make my own wish." "Of course you should." Collecting the keys, she chuckled and turned to leave. After thoughtful hesitation, you called out, "What will you wish for?" Half turning, her cunning gaze met yours as she slowly answered, "Guess." You silently watched her radiant smile. Without another word, Wan Qingwan departed Danxia sect. Frowning, you muttered, "Damn, this eerie atmosphere feels like disaster looming." But subsequent events were beyond your control. You'd done your part. Now you could only focus on cultivation advancement. Your organ-fortifying peak cultivation had accumulated 4 years' foundation. Breakthrough to essence refining wasn't far off. During cultivation breaks, you visited Lin Mo's family. His Heavenly Tao Alliance had expanded significantly, absorbing several minor sects to reach over 300 members. However, the Alliance's martial artists varied wildly in quality, including many deadweight members. With Danxia sect having just over 400 members, the Alliance's 300 seemed bloated. You warned Lin Mo that such numbers invited unnecessary trouble. Lin Mo admitted recognizing this and was currently downsizing to about 100 members. His cultivation had caught up to yours, also at organ fortifying peak. Learning your true level, Lin Mo solemnly declared, "Uncle Yu, from now on I'll protect you." Smiling, you nodded. "Good lad, that warms my heart all day. Though I've nothing left to give you. Uncle Yu, I mean it sincerely." After consideration, you said, "Then let me share something sincere about the 9 condensation's profound skill." Lin Mo grew attentive. "Please speak, Uncle Yu." "I lied about the technique." Lin Mo tensed, sensing importance. "What do you mean?" "I claimed it was my creation but least impressive work." "That was false." As Lin Mo waited gravely, you met his gaze firmly. "Truth is, not only did I create it, it's my masterpiece, extremely impressive." Standing mountaintop with hands clasped behind you, sunset gilding your form in radiant gold, Lin Mo stared awestruck with reverence. "You knew your performance succeeded." "Indeed," Lin Mo breathed, "Uncle Yu, you're incredible." After this grand display, you visited Wei Xia and Lin Kaifeng at their lavish manor. Wei Xia had fully transformed into a noblewoman. Her excellent maintenance made her 40-something self appear early 30s. Her ever-present warm smile welcomed you as she and Lin Kaifeng hurried out. After pleasantries, she excused herself to personally prepare specialties in the kitchen. Lin Kaifeng had thrice retaken provincial exams without success, yet bore no regret. Exposure to martial arts had shown him his son's extraordinary talents. Naturally easygoing, he now enjoyed domestic leisure, the ultimate lying-flat father. Having originally supported Lin Mo's martial path, he felt deeper gratitude than even Lin Mo for your guidance. Otherwise, he'd still be torturing himself with examination essays instead of comfortable retirement. That evening's sumptuous family banquet concluded with you staying overnight. Lin Mo insisted on escorting you back, accompanying you all the way to Yutong County below Danxia sect. As he departed, you noticed a bustling new brothel, Mingchun Court, with constant traffic of giggling courtesans and patrons. Preparing to leave, you spotted Baichen exiting with satisfied expression. Noticing you, he hurried over. "Haha, senior brother. What luck, you finally came down the mountain." You smiled. "My rare descent coincides with you sowing wild oats." "Senior brother misunderstands." A flustered courtesan interrupted, clinging to Baichen while complaining of a non-paying customer. Your eyebrow rose. "Proprietor? You own this place." Baichen beamed. "Haha, senior brother. Mingchun Court's grand opening. Care to experience? Do I seem the type?" Undeterred, he pitched, "We have promotions." Amused, you asked such as, "First day free." Hopefully meaning opening day. "Later too. Bring new customers for second item half price." Baichen's words nearly made you laugh in exasperation. "I never realized you were such a business genius before." You genuinely hadn't expected Baichen, who frequented brothels daily, to end up opening one himself. It reminded you of how many people spend so much money at internet cafes that they could have bought their own computer to play at home. Consider that a compliment from your senior brother. "Come take a seat and show your junior some support," Baichen said. You stepped toward Mingchun Court. Just a simple visit, none of those fancy services. Of course, whatever senior brother says. You and Baichen entered Mingchun Court together, making your way to his private second-floor lounge with its commanding view of the main hall below. At the center of the bustling hall, the courtesan performed an elegant dance, her graceful movements captivating the crowd of scholars and patrons drinking, composing poetry, and creating a lively atmosphere. Baichan ordered tea and snacks as you both observed the scene below, chatting leisurely between sips. After draining your cup in one gulp and leaning back, you asked, "What happened to that guy who tried skipping payment earlier?" Baichan calmly refilled your tea, had Jiao Mingxiu's people drag him to the magistrate. You blinked in surprise. Wait, does Jiao Mingxiu have a stake in Mingchun court too? You never imagined someone as honest as Jiao Mingxiu would get involved in this business. Baichan tossed a peanut in his mouth. No, the court's entirely mine. But since Jiao Mingxiu runs that martial arts school, I borrowed some of his tough-looking instructors to keep order here. Taking a sip of tea, you asked, "You giving Jiao Mingxiu a cut?" Baichan quickly explained, "I tried, but he refused outright. Just told me to pay the instructors properly." You nodded approvingly. Wise. Too much money between friends can ruin relationships. He's learned well over the years. Baichan agreed wholeheartedly. That guy seems simple, but understands life better than anyone. Never made a serious mistake his whole life. You chuckled. Then how'd he end up getting chased around by He Yushan's family back then? Baichan laughed loudly. The one exception to his perfect record. What man hasn't stumbled at that critical moment? Then he glanced at you, realizing you'd never had your own critical moment in decades. He hastily corrected himself. Well, other men I mean. A perfect gentleman like senior brother would never make such mistakes. You glared playfully. Perfect gentleman? What exactly are you implying? More tea, senior brother. Drink your tea. After more conversation at Mingchun Court, you returned to Danxia sect, learning that Baichan had spent considerable money securing county magistrate approval beforehand. No small feat for opening a brothel. NS. The establishment had earned Yutong County's prominent enterprise title on its very first day, transforming Baichan into a respected businessman overnight, proof of the magistrate's substantial support. Back at Danxia sect, you resumed cultivation. 3 days later, Hu Zhongshuan arrived from the capital carrying Dang Wanshu's sliding lid cold jade coffin with his true qi. Pausing your cultivation, you greeted, "Martial uncle, what brings you back home?" It had been over a year since Hu Zhongshuan last visited after escorting Ron Bai. Following Dang Rusing's dying wishes, Hu Zhongshuan should have visited monthly to ensure the sect's stability. "Recent matters kept me occupied," he admitted guiltily, though visibly relieved seeing the sect peaceful. "Seems Ron Bai manages well." Unaware you'd eliminated Shinding Yuan's faction to maintain stability, without which Ron Bai would likely be rotting in some ditch, you simply agreed. "Yes, he manages fine." Hu Zhongshuan nodded. "Then I'm at ease." The late sect leader chose well. "Martial uncle, you came for something important?" you asked. His eyes lit up excitedly. You. "How's your pill refining? When can you reach 6th grade?" Glancing at the silent Deng Washu, you understood. "I've recently entered 7th grade," you answered honestly. 7th grade already?" Hu Zhongshuan exclaimed. "Yes." Ha. Excellent. Marvelous. He clapped your shoulder enthusiastically, nearly dislocating it with his ultimate grandmaster strength. Rubbing your shoulder, you complained, "Martial uncle, state your business before you cripple your only pill refiner." You've guessed it, I may have found a way to obtain Earth Source, meaning hope for the reviving young pill. How confident are you? Hu Zhongshuan sobered slightly, not certain, but there's definite progress. He didn't elaborate on obtaining Earth Source, and you tactically didn't press. After brief conversation, he went to see Wan Bai, returning within 15 minutes looking shocked. Wan Bai says you killed Shinding Yuan. Feigning exaggerated concern, you asked, "Martial uncle, was he your cousin or something?" Don't play dumb. You truly killed Shinding Yuan. The sect would never know peace otherwise. Hu Zhongshuan studied you intensely, organ-fortifying peak-killing dragon transformation mid-stage so easily. I've never seen such a thing. Beginner's luck, martial uncle. Bullshit. An ultimate grandmaster knows when someone's bullshitting about luck. Martial uncle, that sentence would give a censor a stroke. Circling you several times, Hu Zhongshuan nodded approvingly. I haven't seen such combat prowess even in the capital. Then you haven't seen enough. When he moved to clap your shoulder again, you sidestepped. Awkwardly withdrawing his hand, Hu Zhongshuan admitted, the late sect leader spared Shen Dingyuan out of brotherhood, but I worried about his ambitions. Earth source matters kept me from checking more often, but with you here, I'm relieved. Don't be too relieved, do visit more. Right. I'll take my leave now, await your advancement to 8th grade. I'll do my best. After Hu Zhongshuan's departure, you resumed cultivation, pushing toward the essence refining realm. Year 32. While cultivating in your courtyard, you sense the early stage essence refining bottleneck weakening. Breakthrough could come within days or weeks. Suddenly sensing someone approach, you heard a cool yet cheerful voice. Every time I see you, you're cultivating. So diligent. Opening your eyes, you saw Wan Qingwan in white robes entering. Your heart tightened knowing she must have returned from making her wish to Yan Jixue. Maintaining composure, you joked, what ill wind blows the saintess here today? Ignoring your question, she stepped close, eyes intoxicated. I've made my wish to the sect leader. She found it very interesting. Oh? What did you wish for? Instead of answering, she smiled faintly. Then she said you're very interesting too. I think so myself. You seized the key point. Let me understand, after granting your wish, your sect leader could still speak about me being interesting? So, your sect leader could speak after you made your wish? Leaning in urgently, you came close enough to share breaths, her faint fragrance unnoticed in your focus. Wan Qingwan's eyes flickered. Why couldn't the sect leader speak? You fell silent, calmly stepping back while cursing inwardly. Damn it, I've miscalculated badly. Wan Qingwan watches you silently with an inexplicable smile. After a long while, Wan Qingwan giggles foolishly. The sect leader asked me how I obtained all 5 keys. After I told her, she specifically inquired about the key you gave me, then she said. You raise your head, sensing Wan Qingwan's mental state has now fully transformed into that of a genuine extermination sect member. A sense of caution rises within you. You frown and ask, what did she say? Hee, she's coming to see you next month. Your heart sinks. To see me for what? To ask, why you deliberately gave me that key. Your face remains calm, but internally you tremble violently. Fuck? Exposed? Did she fucking figure out my plan and is coming to finish me off? Your thoughts race wildly, considering countless possibilities in an instant. You can't help but lock eyes with Wan Qingwan. You stubbornly defend yourself. What deliberate giving? I just happened to open a clinic for a few days, happened to treat a patient, happened to see the extermination sect token, happened to exchange for a key, happened to know you're from the extermination sect, and happened to casually give it to you. A slightly flirtatious, intoxicated smile appears on Wan Qingwan's stunning face. She ignores your excuses and turns to leave the courtyard. You quickly call out to her, making one last attempt. You ask, if I may ask, what exactly did you wish for? Wan Qingwan pauses momentarily, laughing softly without answering. You shout at her slender, graceful retreating figure. Big sis, tell me already. Readers will curse you for being so mysterious. Wan Qingwan stops briefly and says lightly, I'll just say it's related to you. With these words, her white-clad figure quickly disappears into the mountains. You stand dumbfounded for a moment before cursing angrily. Classic crazy bitch behavior. Came here to tease me without saying anything substantial. Just getting your kicks, huh? A withering above envy. Then you frown deeply. Regardless of what little Wan wished for, Yan Jixue has probably guessed most of my scheme to manipulate her. Yan Jixue will definitely come to hold me accountable. You murmur, but since little Wan has feelings for me, for her peace of mind, Yan Jixue probably won't kill me, but there'll definitely be punishment. What if she tries seduction? I'd be ruined. After 2 breaths of contemplation with a conflicted expression, you finally grit your teeth. Gotta run. Need to flee immediately. Yan Jixue wanted to kill you the first time she came. This time definitely won't be easier. Especially since Yan Jixue is the extermination sect leader. This identity makes you extremely wary. You dare not fall into her hands. You decide to leave Danxia sect and seek refuge with Hu Zhongshuan in the capital. This way, even if your whereabouts are exposed, you'll have the protection of Hu Zhongshuan, an ultimate grandmaster. Hu Zhongshuan would certainly welcome you. He's counting on you to refine the reviving Yang pill for Deng Wanshu and would love daily updates on your alchemical progress. As left Vice Minister of the Ministry of War, Hu Zhongshuan holds immense power. If you wished, you could live a luxurious life of leisure, bullying men and women as you please. Having made your decision, you immediately begin packing, though all important items are already in your storage space. Soon everything is ready. You first burn abundant paper offerings at Xia Huida's grave. Master, extra offerings this time. May you achieve financial freedom in the afterlife. You leave farewell letters for Bai Qin and Jiao Mingxiu, saying you're wandering the martial world and they shouldn't look for you. You then summon a sect disciple. The disciple stands respectfully outside the courtyard, 7th elder. You hand him a letter. Give this to Ruan Bai. I'll be away for some time and can't watch over him. Starting today, he'll need to learn to wipe his own ass. The disciple accepts the letter respectfully. Rest assured, 7th elder. I'll deliver it to the sect leader. After the disciple leaves, you turn to look at the courtyard you've lived in for 16 years. Nostalgia flashes briefly in your eyes. The next moment, you soar into the sky, flying toward the capital. The capital lies at the center of Great Qian. From Danxia sect, it's southwest. This route happens to pass by Lin Mo's Heavenly Dao Alliance. After 7 or 8 days of alternating between flying and riding, you reach the Heavenly Dao Alliance. You quietly find Lin Mo and similarly inform him you're traveling the martial world, telling him not to panic if he can't find you later. Lin Mo thinks nothing of it, assuming you're seeking poetry and distant horizons. Lin Mo wants to host a farewell banquet, but you decline the ceremonious, wind-whistling, river-freezing send-off as it feels inauspicious. You bid Lin Mo farewell and focus on your journey. One day, as you ride a glossy-coated mare along a deserted path. This elegant mare with refined features and shiny coat. Suddenly, inspiration strikes. Your beastly nature erupts as you dismount to sit cross-legged and cultivate. The Star River Blade art rapidly circulates as twinkling starlight surrounds you. Mere moments later, your true chi surges violently. Boom! Your true chi breaks through barriers, coursing endlessly through your meridians. Your eyes snap open, radiating golden light. You've officially reached the early-stage essence refining realm. Excited, you declare, such a simple essence refining realm, conquered. Now even without relying on Earth Source Sword Chi, you could easily defeat early-stage Grandmaster martial artists. With your current True Chi reserves, you can unleash all 10 comprehended Earth Source Sword Chi attacks simultaneously, devastating power. Overjoyed, you lead the whining mare back and continue your journey. While traveling, you also cultivate the Heavenly Desire formless technique to early-stage essence refining. And complete your first True Chi refinement in the essence refining realm. Year 33, age 48. After traversing mountains and rivers, you finally reach Great Qian's capital. Massive walls, dense population, bustling commerce. If a brick fell randomly from the sky, it would hit a ranked capital official. Without delay, you proceed directly to Hu Zhongshuan's residence. Hu Zhongshuan happens to be returning from court and you intercept him. His eyes light up upon seeing you. You. What brings you here, you rascal? You smile, tired of cultivation, thought I'd travel and visit my martial uncle. You won't turn me away, will you? Ha ha. With your thick skin, would it matter if I turned you away? You'd still barge in. Martial uncle misunderstands me. I'm actually quite shy. I blush when talking to girls. Hu Zhongshuan pulls you toward his residence. Haha, enough nonsense. Come, I'll host a welcome banquet tonight. We'll drink until we drop. The 2 guards at Hu Zhongshuan's gate quickly open the doors. You and Hu Zhongshuan enter chatting and laughing. The 2 guards exchange glances, hearts pounding with relief. They'd actually noticed you earlier, lurking suspiciously near the gate, and nearly ordered you to leave. But when Hu Zhongshuan arrived and greeted you warmly, they thanked their stars they hadn't insulted you, or they'd be meeting their ancestors already. They rejoice at surviving another day. Both decide to renovate their long-negated family graves that very night. Evening, Hu Zhongshuan's residence. Come, Hiyu, drink. You and Hu Zhongshuan drank freely together. During the drinking, you told Hu Zhongshuan about the Danxia sex situation, while he informed you about the capital's political landscape. You chatted about everything under heaven while drinking like there was no tomorrow. Hu Zhongshuan had been stationed at Yajianku for most of his career and hadn't spent much time in the capital, so he hadn't made any close friends here. Seeing you, a fellow sect member, come visit him today naturally made him extremely happy, and he kept refilling his own cup again and again. After clinking cups with Hu Zhongshuan once more, you glanced at the cold jade coffin containing Dang Wanshu beside him. Except when attending court, Hu Zhongshuan never went anywhere without Dang Wanshu. Naturally, Dang Wanshu was currently lying beside their dining table. Hu Zhongshuan had specially crafted an exquisite wooden stand slightly lower than the table to place the cold jade coffin, so he could always look at Dang Wanshu inside while eating. With Dang Wanshu's company, Hu Zhongshuan could eat 2 extra bowls of plain rice. Stories about Hu Zhongshuan's devotion had long spread throughout the capital, with officials praising him as Great Qian's most devoted husband. What these court officials didn't know was that another man equally devoted still lay buried in Danxia Sec's graveyard. You asked, "Uncle, is Andy's condition stable?" Hu Zhongshuan gazed tenderly at Dang Wanshu beside the table and smiled. "Wanshu is fine. I've been taking good care of her." You nodded. "What about the earth source?" Hu Zhongshuan, previously in high spirits, suddenly fell silent. After a long pause, he finally said, "Not easy to obtain, but I'm trying." You knew Hu Zhongshuan would have to pay an enormous price to acquire that earth source. Seeing Hu Zhongshuan's low mood, you comforted him. "Uncle, don't be too disheartened. Maybe there are other pills that could wake Andy." Hu Zhongshuan set down his cup and sighed lightly. "Your master tried for so many years. We've tested everything possible. Apart from the reviving young pill, nothing else would work." You laughed. "Uncle, don't be so pessimistic. What if I accidentally become a 9th grade pill refiner?" Hu Zhongshuan shook his head with a wry smile. "If you really reached 9th grade, your master would be so happy he'd climb out of his grave." After drinking a while longer, you concluded the meal. You each retired to your rooms. But that night, you secretly sought out Hu Zhongshuan again. You told him about your plan to stay long-term at his residence, and also mentioned being targeted by a particularly ruthless ultimate grandmaster. Hu Zhongshuan naturally agreed to let you stay and promised you protection. He asked if you'd offended Duanqian or Prince Yonning Liu and been discovered. You said no, it was Yan Jixue who was after you. Hu Zhongshuan looked surprised. "I heard from the sect leader that you and the extermination sect's holy maiden were getting along well. Why would sect leader Yan want you dead?" "Oh yes. It's complicated, but that's the situation now." Seeing your hesitation, Hu Zhongshuan suddenly had an epiphany. "You got the holy maiden pregnant, didn't you?" "What?" "No, don't deny it. You got her pregnant and ran here to avoid responsibility." You sighed helplessly. "Uncle, what nonsense is this? Stop making up stories. I'm still practicing virgin cultivation techniques." Hu Zhongshuan frowned skeptically. "Really? Really? I swear, if I'm lying, may my master never win his resurrection match." With such a vicious oath, "I'll believe you." You finally smiled. "See, Uncle is reasonable after all. After I attend court, I won't need to rush back immediately. Could you look after your aunt during that time?" "No problem. I'll stay in the residence cultivating and take good care of Auntie." From then on, you took up permanent residence at Hu Zhongshuan's home. Hu Zhongshuan told others you were Dang Wanshu's distant nephew. You hardly ever went out, spending all your time cultivating and refining pills in Hu Zhongshuan's residence. 2 peaceful years passed like this. In the 34th year, you turned 49. During these 2 years, whether Yan Jixue couldn't find you or feared Hu Zhongshuan, she never came looking for you once. This allowed you to cultivate in peace. Your true qi underwent its second refinement. You comprehended 2 more Earth Source Sword Qi, bringing your total to 12 out of 24, over halfway through comprehending this Earth Source. At this rate, once fully comprehended, you'd become history's first non-Grandmaster peak martial artist to fuse with an Earth Source. You weren't entirely sure if you could successfully fuse. You might just explode on the spot. But that would just be the simulated Hiyu exploding, having nothing to do with the real forever 15 Hiyu. Your pill refining skills also improved, advancing from beginner to initial achievement in 7th grade pill refining. Seeing your rapid progress, Hu Zhongshuan became as happy as a 106-year-old child. With your mastery-level divine microvision and mind-awakening technique, your pill refining progressed faster than Xia Huida's back in the day. This made Hu Zhongshuan gradually realize that having you refine an 8th grade reviving yang pill wasn't an impossible dream, but an achievable expectation. Your divine microvision remained at mastery level, with no clear indication when it might reach perfection. There wasn't exactly a progress bar. During these 2 years with Hu Zhongshuan, you also learned much about Great Qian's capital officials and the Li imperial clan. Emperor Xuanwu Lianlong was an ultimate grandmaster who had firmly held the throne for over 70 years, since inheriting it at 52. The current crown prince wasn't actually the crown prince, but the crown prince's grandson. The original crown prince had been outlived by Lianlong. That poor crown prince tried every life-extending pill, but still couldn't outlast Lianlong's 200-year lifespan. On his deathbed, Lianlong sat beside him telling him to go in peace. The unlucky prince couldn't hold back on his final day, cursing his own grandmother at Lianlong before promptly dying. You also kept tabs on Prince Yongning Liu, who was closely connected to Duan Qian. This Liu was somewhat strange. While possessing exceptional martial talent reaching grandmaster peak by his 60s, he'd voluntarily requested poor, remote fiefdom from Lianlong and lived there quietly with minimal public appearances. Were it not for his top-tier martial talent among the Li clan, few would probably notice him. After careful consideration, you suspected Liu's extreme low profile wasn't just personality, but strategy. Most likely, Liu feared his martial talent would make Lianlong wary, so he deliberately secluded himself in impoverished lands to demonstrate no ambitions. Another possibility was Liu's close ties to Duan Qian, who engaged in large-scale human trafficking. This cast doubts on Liu's rapid martial progression. Perhaps it wasn't natural talent, but some life-sacrificing dark cultivation method requiring remote locations to avoid exposure. You couldn't determine which scenario was true but decided to monitor Liu closely. After organizing this information, you continued your normal cultivation routine. One day, Hu Zhongshuan mysteriously sought you out, saying he needed to return to Danxia sect temporarily and insisting you lay low until his return. You couldn't help asking, "Uncle, what's happening that even an ultimate grandmaster like you is nervous?" Hu Zhongshuan wouldn't explain, only saying in a suppressed voice, "The storm is coming." You frowned. "Will it affect us?" After consideration, Hu Zhongshuan said, "Not directly, but keep a low profile recently." Relieved that your cultivation wouldn't be disrupted, you didn't care how big the storm grew. Still, you couldn't help feeling annoyed. Why does trouble follow me everywhere like some damn curse? After Hu Zhongshuan finished speaking with you, he departed for the Danxia sect that very day. Before leaving, he instructed everyone in the residence that during his absence, all household matters would follow your arrangements. Your daily routine consisted of caring for Auntie and cultivating. Every morning, you needed to deliver a Roshing pill into Deng Wanshu's mouth using true qi, then channel energy to help her digest the pill. The Rosheng pill was a 4th-grade elixir specially developed by Xia Huida for Deng Wanshu. Just 1 pill per day was enough to maintain her basic life functions, like a compressed biscuit, though far more advanced. Besides providing essential nutrients, the pill could slowly increase Deng Wanshu's martial realm without requiring cultivation techniques, preventing the chaotic qi circulation Jiang the barbarian experienced from lacking proper cultivation methods. After decades of this regimen, Deng Wanshu had reached the late bone tempering stage. You maintained this care routine for over a month. One day after administering Deng Wanshu's pill, you returned to your room to cultivate when the resident steward Old Wang knocked on your door. He stood respectfully outside. "Young master, there's a guest at the gate who specifically asked for you." "Asked for me?" You were puzzled. Having rarely left the residence during your years in the capital, behaving more reclusively than most noble maidens, you couldn't imagine who would seek you out by name. You halted your cultivation, man or woman. What do they look like? Young master, it's a young lady who looks very pretty. Wan Qingwan's cheerful voice rang out as she pushed your door open without permission. Old Wang, startled by her intrusion, immediately shouted, "Guards! Guards! Intruder in the residence! Protect the young master!" Ignoring the commotion, Wan Qingwan giggled as she skipped to you, then plopped her petite bottom down right beside you on the bed. A crowd of martial guards rushed in, weapons drawn and expressions tense. During your 2 years in the residence, the guards had learned exactly how much importance Hu Zhangshuan placed on you. Your status was second only to his, and any mishap would be unforgivable. But with you sitting so close to this unidentified woman, they hesitated, knowing any rash action might endanger you more. Old Wang cautiously intervened. A young lady, this is Vice Minister Hu's residence. Don't do anything reckless. Think of your parents, your family. You sighed and interrupted. Old Wang, everyone withdraw. Young master? But withdraw. You waved dismissively. Reading your expression and glancing at the vivacious beauty beside you, Old Wang's eyes lit up with sudden understanding. Oh, young master, I get it. He hastily retreated, even closing the door behind him. Immediately after, his scolding voice carried through. What are you doing with those big swords? Trying to kill someone. You'll scare the guests. And what if you frighten the children? Why are you staring? Don't you have duties? All of you scram. After the clamor of retreating footsteps, Old Wang's obsequious voice called through the door. Heh, young master, carry on without restraint. I've sent them all away. Annoyed, you replied, you can scram too. Haha, yes, young master, I'm scamming too. Old Wang jogged off with a knowing smirk. Turning to the radiantly smiling Wan Qingwan on your bed, you asked, happy personality today? She giggled. You nodded calmly. Having given up questioning how she'd found you at Hu Zhangshuan's residence, you were growing accustomed to being permanently marked on everyone's map. Your sect leader knows I'm here too. Our Nigeria Nairoes. Of course. I came with her. Your neck shrunk in fear. Yan Jishue is in the capital? She sure is. Damn it. You leapt from the bed to flee. With Hu Zhangshuan absent, you'd stand no chance if Yan Jishue came for you. Wan Qingwan grabbed your sleeve. Where are you going? Where? I'm running for my life. She said cheerfully, why fear the sect leader? She won't come for you. She won't? What about questioning me about the key? She's currently with other ultimate grandmasters at Li Onlong's place. Won't leave the palace for days. Other ultimate grandmasters? You frowned, sensing something amiss. Combined with Hu Zhangshuan's warning about impending changes, you suspected palace turmoil. But regardless of palace affairs, as long as Yan Jishue wouldn't pursue you immediately, you had time to escape. You stood to leave without packing. You maintained constant readiness to flee. After 2 steps, a small hand slipped into yours. Though focused on escape, decades of muscle memory made you squeeze that delicate hand. Considering flight wouldn't be hindered by company, you decided to bring this little thing along. Hand in hand with Wan Qingwan, you exited to find Old Wang waiting outside. Seeing you emerge so quickly, he chuckled awkwardly. Young master, you're quite efficient. But you frowned severely. You waited outside? Terrified by your misunderstanding, Old Wang cowered. No, young master. I wasn't eavesdropping. The master has returned and sent me to summon you. Your face brightened. My lifeline is back. Knowing escape became unnecessary, you hurried to the main hall with Wan Qingwan clinging happily, like accessory. Entering the hall, you saw Hu Zhangshuan. Martial uncle. You're back. I missed you so much. Noticing the girl you brought, Hu Zhangshuan assumed you'd picked up some love interest. He said calmly, you have your friend wait outside. We need to talk. You introduced, martial uncle, this is Wan Qingwan, saintess of the extermination sect. Hello, martial uncle. Wan Qingwan chirped brightly. Hu Zhangshuan's eyes sparkled. Ah, the famous heroine Wan. He mentioned you. Why didn't you bring your child? You glared. Martial uncle. Stop fishing. We're just casual hand-holding friends. Wan Qingwan added obliviously, Martial uncle, we don't have children yet. Seeing her expression, Hu Zhongshuan realized you'd told the truth earlier and dropped the matter. He asked Wan Qingwan, "Your sect leader came to the capital too?" "Yes, martial uncle. She's already secretly entered the palace." Hu Zhongshuan nodded thoughtfully. You looked between them in confusion. Wait, what are you two discussing? Why do I feel like the only clueless one here? Hu Zhongshuan glanced at you, then looked around and said, "Let's talk in my study." The three of you arrived at Hu Zhongshuan's study. The three of you each took a seat. Hu Zhongshuan sat opposite you, and Wan Qingwan sat beside you. Hu Zhongshuan told you the entire situation in detail. 4 days ago, the front line at Yajianku was suddenly attacked by several ultimate grandmasters from Jinyu Nation, suffering heavy losses. The next day, Jinyu Nation gathered more than 20 ultimate grandmasters and launched an assault, nearly breaching Yajianku. In previous battles, ultimate grandmasters rarely took action themselves. Their presence was mostly to intimidate. This time, the surprise attack caught Ding Hanfei, the overall commander of Yajianku, completely off guard. Ding Hanfei hurriedly reported the situation to Lianlong. In such an emergency, Lianlong had no time to hesitate and immediately sent most of the ultimate grandmasters from the capital to reinforce the front line. As a result, the defensive forces around Lianlong became dangerously thin. If someone could gather about a dozen ultimate grandmasters to appear in the capital at this moment, there was a very high chance of assassinating Lianlong. Coincidentally, the current crown prince, formerly the imperial heir Li Jiang, realized this situation. Even more coincidentally, Li Jiang had secretly gathered a dozen or so ultimate grandmasters hidden within the capital. Most coincidentally, the Jinyu Nation's raid on Yajianku was actually a secret agreement between Li Jiang and the leader of the Mijin sect of Jinyu Nation. Jinyu Nation was responsible for pressuring the Yajianku defense line, forcing Lianlong to urgently dispatch most of the ultimate grandmasters from the capital to reinforce the front line. Li Jiang was responsible for, after the ultimate grandmasters were redeployed, gathering the dozen or so ultimate grandmasters to launch an assassination attempt on Lianlong. Li Jiang desperately wanted to become emperor. He was already nearly 70 years old, while Lianlong was still not even 130. Li Jiang watched as he was about to end up like his father, worn down by his grandfather's long reign. Unable to wait any longer, Li Jiang decided to carry on the glorious tradition of usurping the throne. He proactively colluded with Jinyu Nation, making some humiliating concessions to gain their full support. But who was Lianlong? He had sat steadily on the throne for over 70 years and was a very rare ultimate grandmaster emperor. Lianlong's ruling power had long penetrated every corner of Great Qian. How could such a bold move by Li Jiang escape Lianlong's notice? Lianlong had a clear grasp of Li Jiang's plan and could even recite their secret signals by heart. The only unknown to Lianlong was which unlucky ultimate grandmasters Li Jiang had gathered this time. So Lianlong decided to turn the tables, secretly sending most of the Li Imperial clan's ultimate grandmasters in the capital to Yajianku as reinforcements. With grave epsilon. This was to confuse Li Jiang and expose all the ultimate grandmasters Li Jiang had recruited. But this truly left Lianlong's own defenses dangerously empty. Therefore, Lianlong secretly transferred trusted ultimate grandmasters from martial arts sects he trusted to the capital. Together with the remaining Li Imperial clan ultimate grandmasters, they planned to give Li Jiang a big surprise. This was also why Yan Jixue and these ultimate grandmasters secretly entered the capital today. The Crown Prince Li Jiang's action time was on the night of the 3rd day. He had to confirm that Lianlong had indeed sent the ultimate grandmasters to Yajianku before making his move. After listening to Hu Zhongshuan's explanation, you understood why he said the dynasty was about to change. This battle of ultimate grandmasters was not just for show. They were really going to fight. Hu Zhongshuan said Lianlong had gathered more than 50 ultimate grandmasters to deal with his good grandson. Hu Zhongshuan was one of the few ultimate grandmasters among the capital officials and would also participate in the battle. "Senior uncle, will there be danger?" you asked. Hu Zhongshuan smiled and said, "No real danger. The main goal is to find out which ultimate grandmasters support Li Jiang. I guess both sides won't go all out. The final reckoning will come later. Reckoning. Your expression faltered. Senior uncle, are you returning to Danxia's sect this time because you're worried Danxia's sect might be indirectly involved and face future consequences? Hu Zhongshuan didn't expect you to think so deeply. He looked at you with some surprise. Yes. I went back to audit the accounts of pill sales and instructed Wan Bai to strictly control the disciples recently. Being cautious doesn't hurt. After explaining, Hu Zhongshuan looked at you and Wan Qingwan, then cleared his throat twice. Well, I'll step out for a while. Hu Zhongshuan stood up and left the study. You felt helpless. Can you get off me first? You said to Wan Qingwan, who was sitting in your lap hugging your neck. Wan Qingwan looked at you with her long eyelashes fluttering and big eyes. Why should I get off? You gently put Wan Qingwan down and looked into her eyes seriously. Because we are just ordinary friends. We can't be this intimate, got it? Wan Qingwan's beautiful eyebrows moved slightly as she replied sweetly, got it. Good. You took Wan Qingwan's hand and left the study. On the third day, early morning. Tonight was the time Crown Prince Li Jiang would make his move. After the court session today, Hu Zhongshuan returned as usual. But not long after, he disguised himself as a servant and went out. You guessed he went to join the ultimate grandmaster's big gathering tonight. You continued to seize every minute to cultivate inside the mansion. At this moment, old Wang came to inform you, young master, the young madam has arrived. You frowned. Which young madam? Old Wang was about to explain when you suddenly realized he meant Wan Qingwan. You said helplessly, is it that girl from the day before yesterday? Yes, young master. That young madam from the day before yesterday. Old Wang, you stubborn bastard. Didn't you hear me say girl? Old Wang hurriedly said, all right, young master, I won't call her young madam anymore. Then, how should I address her? You stroked your chin and thought for a moment. Forget it. Call her whatever you want. That night, the moon was bright and the stars sparse, the sky clear and refreshing. You and Wan Qingwan sat in the mansion garden drinking tea and chatting, waiting for any movement from the imperial city. At the slightest sound, the two of you would immediately ascend and watch the commotion. Wan Qingwan cultivated the treading heaven steps technique. Although her speed in the air was slow, she could stay airborne for 36 breaths, enough to watch the spectacle. Wan Qingwan was in a gloomy mood today. She had been sighing all day, very pessimistic, always imagining the worst. What if the sect leader gets into trouble? What if your senior uncle gets into trouble? What if they come over here and kill us? It would be great if you stopped cursing us. You imitated Wan Qingwan's tone and said. Just as you finished speaking, a loud explosion came from the direction of the imperial city. Then several louder noises followed in quick succession. You and Wan Qingwan exchanged a glance and quickly ascended. You were the first to reach high altitude. Wan Qingwan's speed was much slower. After she caught up, she asked in surprise, why are you so fast? Don't slander me. You looked toward the imperial city. By the moonlight, you vaguely saw the situation in the air there. There were indeed 40 or 50 ultimate grandmasters on Li Anlong's side, while Li Jiang had only about 20. The situation was already one-sided. The ultimate grandmasters on Li Jiang's side were scattering in all directions. Although Li Anlong had controlled the situation and turned the tide, he did not look pleased. His face remained extremely stern. Not long after, Hu Zhongshuan returned safely. You ran out and asked, Senior Uncle, what happened? Before Hu Zhongshuan could answer, you suddenly shuddered. Because you saw a familiar figure, Yan Jixue. She had actually followed Hu Zhongshuan back. You greeted stiffly, Sect Leader Yan, long time no see. I almost wished you dead. Yan Jixue wore an elegant black dress, her graceful posture still exuding the dignified aura of a noblewoman. She smiled gently at you. If that's what you think of me, why are you deliberately avoiding me? The warmer Yan Jixue's smile became, the more you broke out in cold sweat. You edged closer to Hu Zhongshuan. You forced a laugh. Sect Leader Yan has misunderstood. I was just out for a stroll. I'm the restless type who can't stay put. Hu Zhongshuan interjected, No need to panic. Sect leader Yen told me she's already forgiven you for abducting Heroine 1. Your eye twitched, realizing this was how Yen Jixue had tricked Hu Zhongshuan. Moreover, Hu Zhongshuan knew about Yen Jixue's lingering ties with Deng Rusong. Hu Zhongshuan had never been wary of Yen Jixue to begin with. When provoked, he might even call her sister-in-law. That's why, despite your obvious avoidance of Yen Jixue, Hu Zhongshuan had actively brought her to you, hoping to mediate your conflict. What Hu Zhongshuan didn't know was that your conflict with Yen Jixue wasn't so easily resolved. Yours was a life-or-death relationship. You glanced at the smiling Yen Jixue. To prevent her from suddenly attacking, you decided to at least try regaining some favor. You politely smiled. Thank you for your forgiveness, sect leader Yen. May your fortune be as vast as the Eastern Sea and your longevity rival the Southern Mountains. In short, congratulations and prosperity. You figured some auspicious words might help. Yen Jixue covered her mouth with a light laugh, glancing at you. Thank you for your blessings, young hero he. Sect leader Yen, please don't stand at the entrance. Come inside. Hu Zhongshuan ushered Yen Jixue into the residence. The four of you arrived at the garden where you and Wan Qingwan had earlier taken tea. With lanterns lit in the pavilion, the four of you sat drinking tea while discussing recent events. After the 20 ultimate grandmasters from Li Zhang's side discovered they'd been ambushed, they lost all will to fight. They only exchanged a couple testing blows. Those were the loud explosions you'd heard. Facing more than double their number from Li Onlong's side, the 20 ultimate grandmasters immediately scattered. Most of Li Onlong's ultimate grandmasters came from martial sects, so they only gave token chase before finding secluded spots to nap, then returned to collect their appearance fees. They had no intention of actually risking their lives. Ensuring Li Onlong's safety was enough. Li Onlong naturally understood their attitude, but didn't mind. He'd already identified which ultimate grandmasters supported Li Jiang. Specifically, 8 from the Blood Demon sect, one of the 3 great demon cults, 7 from the Eastern Sea Pavilion, one of the 5 great sects, and 5 from 3 ambitious, mid-sized sections Omicroni. As expected, the Blood Demon sect, Eastern Sea Pavilion, and those 3 mid-sized sects would face Li Onlong's ruthless retaliation. However, Li Onlong was frustrated that Li Jiang had escaped beforehand. The person caught was just a body double. That's why you'd seen Li Onlong looking grim despite his victory. Li Jiang had been cautious from the start, using a body double and planning to emerge only after confirmed success. This caution saved Li Jiang's life, allowing his early escape. Li Onlong had already launched a nationwide manhunt. Li Jiang wouldn't remain hidden for long. After discussing this, you all dispersed. Hu Zhongshuan invited Yen Jixue and Wan Qingwan to stay, which they accepted. The next day, the 4 of you gathered for lunch. Though an improvised family, the atmosphere was harmonious. Come, sect leader Yen, Heroine 1, this humble house offers poor hospitality, but please accept our simple wine. Yen Jixue and Hu Zhongshuan exchanged polite small talk. Today, Wan Qingwan was in her fearful personality, silently eating while clutching her bowl. Occasionally she'd look up warily like a kitten. You'd slept poorly, constantly fearing Yen Jixue might break in. Now you mirrored Wan Qingwan, eating quietly while barely touching the dishes, only occasionally adding some to Wan Qingwan's bowl. As you focused on your rice, chopsticks placed food in your bowl. You assumed it was Wan Qingwan returning the favor. But looking up in shock, you saw Yen Jixue smiling gently as she served you. This scene shocked you as much as a mother-in-law offering cigarettes. You hurriedly raised your bowl with both hands. Sect leader Yen, I can serve myself. You haven't been serving yourself. Yen Jixue's smile radiated mature charm. You couldn't appreciate it at all, imagining her next move might be peeling your skull open for monkey brain delicacies. I don't like vegetables. My family were farmers. We only ate plain rice. You forced a laugh. Yen Jixue smiled cryptically. That afternoon, Yen Jixue prepared to leave with Wan Qingwan. You and Hu Zhongshuan saw them off. The fearful Wan Qingwan lacked her usual aloofness or cheerful playfulness, just gazing at you pitifully. You approached her. Good friends must part ways. If you miss me, Bring some of your sect's secret manuals when you visit. Yan Jishua laughed. You wasn't stealing the heavenly desire formless technique enough? You jumped beside Hu Zhongshuan. More than enough. Sect leader Yan, you should depart now to avoid delays. Yan Jishua covered a laugh. No need to fear me so. Once I knew you posed no threat to Qingwan, I abandoned killing you. And... She glanced at Wan Qingwan. And what? You pressed. Yan Jishua turned back, and I did promise to fulfill Qingwan's wish. I definitely won't kill you now. What wish? Qingwan said we can't tell you. You might not handle it. You solemnly said, when my parents died before me, I didn't utter a word. I can handle anything. Yan Jishua just shook her head with a smile. After bidding Hu Zhongshuan farewell, she flew off with Wan Qingwan. Watching them disappear, you finally relaxed. You knew Yan Jishua had no reason to lie. She truly wouldn't kill you now. No more sleepless nights. After today, you were finally free from constant fear. Having barely left the capital in 2 years as a reclusive musclehead, you planned to venture out soon. Hu Zhongshuan turned in shock. Sect leader Yan wanted to kill you. You nodded. That happened. Hu Zhongshuan glared, and you still claim you didn't impregnate Heroine Wan. You were beyond exasperated. Uncle, go play with Auntie. I can't reason with your love-struck brain. You little. Ignoring Hu Zhongshuan's bristling, you declared I'm going to train and retreated to your room. 1 year later. Year 35, you turned exactly 50 years old. The past year had been one of hard work. On this day, you completed your 3rd true qi condensation. Your 7th grade pill refining technique took a major step toward minor mastery, nearing a substantial breakthrough. With Yan Jishua's death threat gone, you could finally live with dignity and work seriously. After hiding from Yan Jishua for over 2 years, the crisis was finally resolved. You felt immensely emotional. You ran to the mansion garden and dramatically shouted, "Snow and wind oppressed me for 3 years. Add them together makes 5 years. Finally, I'm free. Free." You spread your arms and shouted with abandon. "Young master? Young master." Old Wang came over and had to shout repeatedly before you stopped your exclamation. "What is it?" You turned your head. Old Wang looked at your lower body. "Young master, at least wear pants next time you come out." You looked down and realized in your excitement today, you'd rushed out naked to recite poetry. Looking around, then at yourself between the legs, Old Wang, nobody else saw, right? Well, probably not. Old Wang looked uncomfortable. You sighed lightly. What a pity. Returning to your room with visible regret. That evening, Hu Zhongshuan dined with you. He told you Li Anlong had spent the past year bloodily purging those involved in Li Zhong's coup attempt, the Blood Demon Sect, Eastern Sea Pavilion, and 3 mid-sized sects, A with Hilda knew. Of the Blood Demon Sect's 21 ultimate grandmasters, 9 were hunted down and killed, while 12 remained at large, suspected to have fled to Jinyu Nation. What shocked you was that Blood Demon Sect's leader Zhou Qiyun had also died, again at Lin Jingji's hands. You marveled at this world being like a Mickey's Funhouse. Truly marvelous. Eastern Sea Pavilion's 15 ultimate grandmasters saw 8 killed and 7 escaped. The other 3 sects' 5 ultimate grandmasters all perished. Additionally, all martial artists below ultimate grandmaster level from these 5 factions were captured by Li Anlong and executed. Many core members even received the special 9 familial exterminations package. The killing spree left heads rolling. The entire martial world was so intimidated that no fights occurred for a long time. But deposed Crown Prince Li Jiang remained missing, greatly angering Li Anlong. Li Zhong's entire bloodline was executed. Li Anlong also ordered the execution of Li Zhong's 2 younger brothers and their families. Some officials, considering them still imperial relatives, petitioned for exile instead of execution. Li Anlong happily read the petition, then had that official's entire family executed. Though Li Anlong dealt with Li Zhong's clan, Hu Zhongshuan said Li Anlong remained irritable over failing to find Li Jiang himself, often flying into rages. Late night, Imperial City, Wenhua Hall. Li Anlong sat imposingly on the dragon throne. A chief eunuch stood attentively beside him. Li Anlong spoke slowly. Has he been driven there? The eunuch bowed. Your Majesty, the rebel crown prince has been secretly driven to Prince Yongning's domain. Li Anlong nodded leisurely. That earth source on my precious grandson is quite tempting. Let's see if Prince Yongning can remain eternally peaceful. Year 36. Your pill refining achieved a breakthrough, rising from initial achievement to minor mastery. Hu Zhangshuan was happier than if he'd fathered a child himself. He drank heavily that day, eventually digging up his daughter's wedding wine buried just last year to share with you. Your true qi reached its fourth condensation. However, your divine microvision stalled after major mastery. You knew reaching perfection would be difficult. Fortunately, major mastery sufficed. Combined with mind-awakening technique, your pill refining progressed astonishingly fast. During this period, you returned to Danxia sect. First visiting Lin Mo, you arrived cheerfully but left gloomy. Because 27-year-old Lin Mo had already reached early dragon transformation realm, a full major realm above you. Facing such absurd talent, you wondered what window heaven had closed for him. Then you remembered. Lin Mo's academic performance was terrible. Back in your hometown, he'd have dropped out before finishing compulsory education. But you? Before transmigrating, you were a prestigious vocational college expert. Not only that, you'd taken the vocational to undergraduate tribulation exam. With 450 total points, you narrowly failed by only 384 points, just short of breakthrough. But you considered yourself half-stepped into undergraduate realm, a half-step undergraduate. You'd heard above undergrads existed masters' ancestors, truly terrifying. And beyond that, horrors called doctors, whose mere thought made you tremble. You'd even heard rumors of something beyond doctor, the unspeakable postdoctoral entity. Postdoctorals allegedly defied conventional logic, transcending academic constraints to become working beasts. Regardless, academically you'd truly won hemp, compared to Lin Mo, like Qin Shi Huang touching live wires. Comforted by this realization, you happily left Lin Mo. Next visiting Bai Chen and Jiao Mingxiu. Bai Chen's Mingchun court brothel thrived increasingly, attracting tourists from afar. He'd won Outstanding Entrepreneur 3 years running. Jiao Mingxiu's martial arts school also flourished, producing many outstanding security captains and underworld enforcers. His daughter Jiao Xiaoao already had a daughter, 45-year-old Jiao Mingxiu, now a grandfather, constantly grinning while holding his granddaughter. Returning to Danxia sect, Wanbai hurriedly prepared to welcome you. Wanbai said your former residence was cleaned daily, always awaiting your return. Visiting the courtyard, indeed spotless. Protected by barriers, ordinary access forbidden. Seeing the meticulously preserved courtyard, you even considered buying a ticket to enter. Finally burning paper offerings at Xia Hueda and Deng Rusing's graves. Realizing you might be getting old, now muttering to yourself before graves. After burning Joss paper for the 2 old-timers, you returned directly to the capital. You could have stayed at Danxia sect, but Hu Zhangshuan asked about your pill progress 800 times daily. Remembering his care at Yajianku, you returned to reassure him. You could always revisit Danxia sect later. The day you returned, Hu Zhangshuan announced deposed Crown Prince Li Jiang had been captured. Prince Yongning Li, you caught him, sending Li Jiang to the capital, arriving tomorrow.